Part 33. Fringe Artists in the Entertainment Industry. Author, Chizuda Xiaomao. Chapter 333. Chapter 322-320. Envy, Jealousy, and Hatred. The atmosphere in the office was very strange at this time. Li Dabai seemed to be meeting Myron Chen for the first time, with shock and confusion in his eyes. Chen Myron was embarrassed by Li Dabai's eyes and couldn't help but said, "Dabai, do you have anything else? Just go out." Li Dabai opened his mouth and wanted to say something was wrong, but he was worried that after Chen Lian left, Chen Myron would wear small shoes for himself and go out with the regret of not being able to get anything to eat. After Li Dabai went out, Chen Lian couldn't help laughing. Myron Chen was quite upset at first, but when she saw Chen Lian smiling so happily, she suddenly felt that it was worth it. "Honey, you are laughing at me," Chen Myron deliberately laughed and threw herself on Chen Lian. She kept hitting him with her little pink fists, but it was useless at all. Chen Lian grabbed her thin wrist and pulled him in my arms." Chen Myron stumbled and fell into Chen Lian's arms, blinked at Chen Lian with her big beautiful eyes, and suddenly hugged his neck and kissed him passionately. "What's wrong with the little woman? I'm happy being a little woman in front of my man." Not to mention the charm in the office and the indescribable aftermath, the outside world was surprised by the trend in today's newspapers. How come this Chen Lian suddenly got support from above? Today's newspaper is boring. I still want to see which professor and expert has a dirty butt. These people have been scolding each other for so many days, why did they suddenly stop scolding them? It's boring. I should have known better that I wouldn't buy the newspaper. It's all about praising Chen Lian. What's there to praise for having so many girlfriends like this? Sophie Marceau, my Sophie Marceau. After today's newspaper appeared, various voices came out, and there were many people who were envious, jealous, and hateful. Director Wang looked at today's newspaper, glanced at it for a few times and then threw it aside. When he saw the three words Chen Lian, he thought of Chen Lian's impassioned appearance in the office yesterday. Why is this kid so disobedient all of a sudden? Director Wang sighed, thinking that Chen Lian had always been an honest person in front of him before, and then he realized that Chen Lian was just pretending to be in front of him. But think about it, he is already a billionaire, there is really no need to suffer this dumb loss, not to mention that he has now completely made a name for himself internationally. "Oh, I made a mistake. I didn't change my mind. I still regarded him as a child." Director Wang sighed faintly, and suddenly thought of the first time he met Chen Lian. The young man who was not very familiar with the world was now a big boss. It's not surprising that Director Wang thinks like this. Chen Lian has grown up so fast that he has not yet accepted that Chen Lian is already a big boss, and in his heart he still regards him as the young boy he used to be. There are not a few people who are as upset as Director Wang today, and those who participated in the scolding war now regret it. However, most people still envy Chen Lian in their hearts. He is famous, rich, and has a good background. Who wouldn't want to be such a person? Chen Lian doesn't care about everyone's envy, jealousy, and hatred. Anyway, he will be even more envious in the future. In the office, Chen Lian looked at Mei Chen, who was gargling her mouth, and felt like she was back to the beginning with her. After chatting with Beauty Chen for a long time, Chen Lian was called back by Zhang Guorong's phone call. When he returned home, Chen Lian saw Lu Tao busy packing his luggage in the living room, and Leslie Chung sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed, chatting with a little girl. Chen Lian felt strange that Zhang Guorong had changed his gender and started taking girls home. No, this guy didn't bring two girls home. Some of the people playing mahjong at his house had never stayed overnight. Chen Lian walked up to Lu Tao and nuzzled at the girl over there. Lu Tao immediately said, "This is the heroine of my brother's movie. She is a newcomer. She likes my brother very much." Chen Lian tilted his head and glanced at the two people who were engaged there, and then he saw clearly that the person sitting opposite Zhang Guorong was Mei Ting. If you look closely, he looks pretty good looking, but his face is full of pain, which kind of ruins his beauty. Chen Lian walked over and coughed, put his hands on Zhang Guorong's shoulders and said, "Are you going to Shanghai?" Zhang Guorong raised his head and glanced at Chen Lian, knocked his hand off angrily and said, "No matter how big or small." Chen Lian couldn't help but be stunned for a moment after listening to Zhang Guorong's words. Why did he pick it up? He started pretending to be in front of fans, right? Humph, childish Ma Zhongwing. Hello, senior, I'm Mei Ting from Zongzi Drama. We've met before. Mei Ting stood up and took the initiative to say hello. Chen Lian looked at Mei Ting and stretched out his hand to shake it, then asked, "Have you dropped out of school? There has been quite a big fuss these days." Mei Ting nodded with dark eyes, looked at Chen Lian and whispered, "Yes, the school won't let me film." Chen Lian didn't know if Mei Ting's choice was right, but it was indeed more cost-effective to study with a big boss than to study for 2 more years at school. Otherwise, why would she be the heroine of Leslie Cheung? I don't even look at who Zhang Guorong's previous heroines were. Mei Ting is a million miles away. Chen Lian looked at Leslie Cheung and said, "Take care of me during filming. It's not easy for a little girl. I need you to teach me." Zhang Guorong's stinky look made Chen Lian want to beat him up. Why didn't he notice it before? Chen Lian looked at Lu Tao, who was still helping Zhang Guorong pack his luggage, and said, "Xiao Bai, stop packing, let him pack it by himself." Lu Tao was stunned for a moment and didn't know what to do with the things in his hands. At this time, Mei Ting came over very discerningly and said, "Then I'll do it." Chen Lian curled his lips, sat next to Zhang Guorong, looked at him and said, "Don't go too deep into filming this time. You'll make yourself nauseous by making a movie. You should pay attention to psychological counseling in the future. I know, she's just as annoying as Shifen, 8th wife. Zhang Guorong, you are so brave, aren't you? Let's see if I don't beat you to death. Young man, you don't follow martial ethics and sneak up on me, a 40-year-old man." Mei Ting stared blankly at Zhang Guorong and Chen Lian, who were chasing each other in the living room, feeling that his knowledge had been refreshed. Lu Tao glanced at Mei Ting, who had never seen the world before, and said, "Are you still cleaning up? If not, let me do it." After hearing Lu Tao's words, Mei Ting came back to his senses and said quickly, "Take it, I'll take it now." The idol's house collapsed, and 2 houses fell down at once. Why are they 2 childish ghosts? Together they are over 60 years old, how can they still shoot out with a remote control like a child? Mei Ting now regrets coming to Chen Lian's house with Leslie Cheung. Who knows the hearts of us fans? More than half an hour later, Chen Lian saw Zhang Guorong off downstairs, but this time he did not let Lu Tao follow him. Zhang Guorong's assistant had already arrived in Shanghai to wait for him. Chen Lian looked at the car driving away and put away the smile on his face. Every time he was with Zhang Guorong, he would play with him because he was worried that something would go wrong with him. "I am such an excellent friend," Chen Lian said narcissistically. Lu Tao next to her couldn't help but nodded. On this point, she recognized Chen Lian. As for everything else, forget it, he's a scumbag. Wherever you go, you have to hook up with a few female stars. Chen Lian went upstairs to rest for a while and then set off to see Mr. Zhou. It had been a long time since he had seen Mr. Zhou, and Chen Lian still missed her, but he and Mr. Zhou always spent less time together and more time apart. It is strange to say that every time Chen Lian is in China, Mr. Zhou goes to film. When Mr. Zhou was not filming, Chen Lian went abroad again. When Chen Lian arrived at Mr. Zhou's new home, he was surprised to see Lao Jia and the others. "There are so many people today," Chen Lian said with a smile. Mr. Zhou said with a smile, "It's a housewarming celebration." When Lao Jia and the others knew about it, they insisted on coming to join in the fun. Jiazhang and Gulin, who were looking around at this time, were filled with envy when they saw such a big villa. What kind of thing could a capitalist do? A villa for one lover. Gulin was so envious that he really wanted to ask Chen Lian if his gender would not be so stuck. He also wants someone to give him a villa. Chen Lian, who had just changed his shoes at the entrance to the entrance, looked at Jiazhang and the others who were looking around and exclaiming from time to time. He deeply suspected that they were here for a meal. Chen Lian downstairs looked at them and said, "We're here to have a meal." Gulin, who talked a lot, immediately said, "This is just a public statement. How can friends talk about having a meal together? We are here with blessings." Chen Lian couldn't help but smile, walked up to Jiazhang and asked, "Is the film finished editing?" Jiazhang nodded, looked at Chen Lian and said, "It's finished, but now I don't know where to send it. It's too late for Wisny, why not Berlin? If you are confident, you can also give Khan a try." Chen Lian looked at Jiazhang and said, "Consider where to send it. If you are not sure, next year's Rotterdam or other film festivals it will be alright." Originally, Jiazhang was going to find someone to send it to him. Now that Chen Lian spoke, he stopped being pretentious and said, "Whenever you have time, I will take you to see it. As for Khan, I don't want to go to Berlin to try it out. Give it a try." "Okay, I'll go take a look later." Chen Lian patted Jiazhang on the shoulder and said, "I wish you can win the grand prize." We had dinner and drank a lot of wine with them in the evening, mainly because Chen Lian was listening to them complaining about the film's censorship issues, and then the topic turned to Chen Lian. Jiazhang and the others kept saying that Chen Lian's art was amazing. The commotion continued until after 9 o'clock. After Chen Lian sent Jiazhang and others out, he couldn't wait to close the door, turned around and hugged Mr. Zhou, who was also anxious. Mr. Zhou has long regretted letting Jiazhang and the others come over and delaying his and Chen Lian's world. The house was full of messes left by the dinner, and no one was cleaning up at this time. Chen Lian and Mr. Zhou hugged each other and kissed passionately. While kissing, they walked towards the bedroom on the second floor. Time always passed quickly, and before I knew it, it was getting bright outside. Mr. Zhou bent his legs and huddled weakly in Chen Lian's arms, whispering about the fun things he had encountered during the time he was separated from Chen Lian. Things. One morning I ate delicious buns, another day I saw a cloud of love, or I met a kitten basking in the sun on a street corner. Chen Lian held Mr. Zhou in his arms and listened to her share the trivial things in her life. Missing her every word. Chen Lian didn't know what he could share with Mr. Zhou. He tried to speak several times but held back. He just held her little hand and squeezed it gently to show that he had been listening. Time passed little by little, and Mr. Zhou's voice became smaller and smaller, until he fell into a deep sleep, still nestled in Chen Lian's arms and holding his arms. Chen Lian glanced at the sky that was about to light up outside, and slowly fell asleep. I don't know how much time has passed, but the mess in the living room has been cleaned up. Chen Lian and Mr. Zhou yawned and sat together on the sofa. "I won't let people come to my house for gatherings anymore. I'm exhausted." Mr. Zhou rubbed his little hands, turned his head and looked at Chen Lian and said, "I'm going to join the group again in a few days. How about you stay with me these 2 days?" "Good." Chen Lian asked curiously, "What movie did you take on again?" 2. Mr. Zhou sat up, looked at Chen Lian and said, "The Rongji of Huaqiao and Jing Kei's assassination of Qin." Chen Lian thought for a while, but he didn't recall the memory of Huaqiao Rongji. He thought it was an unknown movie, but Jing Kei's assassination of Qin was famous. It's hard for Chen Lian to forget Li Suejian's role as the first emperor, nor Wang Zhiwen's Lao Ai. These two characters left such a deep impression on people. Oh, by the way, this is another director Cheng's film. Mr. Zhou looked at Chen Lian and asked, "Why didn't director Cheng ask you to act? Gong Li and I both went. Didn't he always say that you did a good job in the last play?" "I don't know, but who can he play if he asks me to play it?" Ying Zheng or Lao Ai, Chen Lian thought that the script was written by director Cheng himself, and he really had no intention of acting in it. Director Cheng originally asked someone to write the script in 1994. It took 3 years to write it, but director Cheng gave it up after reading it. Even though the screenwriter tried his best to adapt to director Cheng's ideas, he was still disliked. Director Cheng then wrote one by himself based on the original script in less than a week. Listen, what a strong sense of déjà vu. Chen Lian can guarantee that director Cheng must have told Wang Peigong that this is my thing. I don't know if Wang Peigong was vomiting blood at the time, but director Cheng took the script he had written for 3 years and spent several days changing it beyond recognition. Chen Lian felt miserable just thinking about it, but he sympathized more with Gong Li and Mr. Zhou, who had to endure the same experience twice. Alas, why did director Cheng forget to eat but not to fight? Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 334. Chapter 323-321. Come to Tokyo to enjoy the autumn breeze. Happy Chinese Valentine's Day. In the bright sofa, Chen Lian sat on the sofa and read the script of Jing Kei's assassination of Qin. Mr. Zhou was sitting next to him with his legs bent and applying nail polish. He stretched his legs from time to time to see if it looked good. The black nail polish looked a bit coquettish and charming, which was completely inconsistent with Mr. Zhou's image. However, the contrast is very strong and always attracts Chen Lian's attention. Maybe the script of Jing Kei's assassination of Qin was mediocre and failed to attract Chen Lian. Chen Lian didn't quite understand why director Cheng always liked to change the script himself. If he had confidence in himself, why would he find a screenwriter to write the script in the first place? And hasn't Feng Yu's lesson been remembered by him yet? The script was scolded. After closing the script, Chen Lian looked at Mr. Zhou and said, "When will you go to Hongdian?" "We'll set off the day after tomorrow, didn't Gong Li tell you?" Mr. Zhou stretched out his feet in front of Chen Lian and asked, "Do you like this color?" Chen Lian looked at the small and exquisite feet and slender calves in front of him, and pursed his lips unnaturally. Mr. Zhou took one look in the direction of Chen Lian's mouth and couldn't help but burst into laughter, stepping on it with his fair and delicate feet. "It's almost longer than my feet," Mr. Zhou gestured, then retracted his feet and crawled into Chen Lian's arms, touching his lips with his fingers and said, "How about we go out to play tomorrow?" "Where do you want to go?" Chen Lian asked in a low voice. Mr. Zhou tilted his head and thought for a while and said, "I don't know, just go out and walk around, wherever you go." "Okay," Chen Lian agreed immediately, then picked up Mr. Zhou like a doll and said, "Then let's do something happy now." Mr. Zhou put his arms around Chen Lian's neck and smiled foolishly. He crossed his legs around his waist and twisted a few times and said, "I can't help it anymore. Please beg me. If you beg me, I will sit down." Chen Lian, still asking? "Then I'll let go and see if you can hold on." In less than 20 seconds, Mr. Zhou's hands were too weak to hold on. He slid down a few centimeters, then his face turned red, and he bit Chen Lian's chest with blurred eyes. Chen Lian looked at Mr. Zhou, who was cute and fun-loving, and couldn't help but smile, and then hugged her, fearing that she would fall. However, Chen Lian didn't sleep well last night and didn't have much strength. After hugging her, he was so tired that he had to let go. "One time. Give me a hug. Let me relax." In the next few days, Chen Lian had a lot of fun with Mr. Zhou, and just like what Mr. Zhou said, he could go wherever he wanted, without a destination. The car just chose a direction and it would just go wherever it went. The important thing about traveling is not the destination, but the scenery and the people who accompany you along the way. But when they came back, Chen Lian and Mr. Zhou got lost twice. They were a little embarrassed, but they also had a lot of interesting experiences. After Mr. Zhou returned, he drove away by himself, and Chen Lian also started to work. I will go to Tokyo at the end of the month, attend the singer's promotion and premiere next month, and go to Venice to attend the closing ceremony of the Art Biennale the next month. When all the things are done, 1997 will almost be over. When Chen Lian was calculating his schedule for the next few months, he always felt as if he had forgotten something. But I couldn't remember it for a while. At this time, Gao Yuan, who had just finished filming Love Malatang, could not wait to start preparations. She was about to become an adult. Gao Yuan is looking forward to what kind of surprises and romance Chen Lian will prepare for her on her birthday. On September 25th, Chen Lian got on a plane and flew to Tokyo. He was looking forward to this trip to Tokyo. The financial crisis has swept through Japan, and the exchange rate between the yen and the US dollar has begun to fall. I don't know how much money those consortiums will lose this time. When the financial crisis comes, real estate in Tokyo will also be strongly affected. Chen Lian plans to take advantage of this time to buy more houses. Anyway, the prices will rise back in the future. However, investment is only one aspect. The most important thing is to hide the beauty in the golden house. After arriving in Tokyo again, Chen Lian was surrounded by reporters as soon as he got off the plane. It seemed as if the financial crisis did not exist and everyone was still paying attention to entertainment gossip. This time, Ito Muragi was unable to pick up Chen Lian because he was busy with the closing ceremony, but he arranged for Sakai Noriko and Suzuki Hanamai to pick him up. At the airport pickup gate, Chen Lian squeezed out of the circle of reporters without saying a word and got into the nanny car arranged by Ito Muragi. The moment the car door opened, a reporter with quick hands and eyes pressed the shutter, but Chen Lian blocked half of the car door, so the situation inside the car was not clearly captured. When the reporter developed the photo in the evening, looking at the blurry figure in the photo, it felt very familiar, but he couldn't recognize who it was. The reporter curiously checked the whereabouts of Fujiwara Norika and Tomita Yasuko, and found that they were not in Tokyo, and became even more curious. Chen Lian has hooked up with a new lover? And there are two women in the photo, hooking up with two of them at once. The reporter felt his head was dizzy, but he still started writing the article. The recent financial crisis has begun to appear in Japan, and newspapers also have their own tasks. They should publish more entertainment news to attract public attention. Otherwise, if it causes panic, the stock market will easily undergo greater changes. The Japanese yen was attacked just in 1994. If it happens again now, it will take Japan's economy how many years to recover? This is just the beginning. When the financial crisis really hits Japan, no one will care even if the emperor walks naked around the streets. Many securities companies in Japan's current financial market are in a precarious state. The failure of one of them will trigger a chain reaction. Chen Lian sat in the restaurant and looked at these customers. Most of them were calm, but he could also see that many were worried. Chen Lian turned to look at Noriko Sakai and Hanamai Suzuki and asked, "Have you two made any investments?" "Investment?" Noriko Sakai was stunned for a moment and said, "I haven't done investment, I don't understand this." Suzuki Hanamai nodded and said, "I bought some stocks and bonds." "Throw it away and exchange it for US dollars," Chen Lian said calmly. Suzuki Hanamai asked in confusion, "Why?" "The financial crisis is coming, just do as I say. If you want to make money, you can invest all your money in US dollars." After Chen Lian finished speaking, he stopped mentioning the topic, looked at them and asked, "What kind of house do you like?" "A house? I prefer apartments." Noriko Sakai thought for a moment and said, "Apartments are more modern, and I don't like things that are too traditional." "What about you?" Chen Lian turned to look at Suzuki Hanamai and asked. Hanamai Suzuki, on the contrary to Noriko Sakai, said with a smile, "Just a yard, I like to have my own yard." After Chen Lian nodded and took note of it, he knew what he was thinking. he would give each of them one set as a gift and buy another extra large set for himself so that they could live together next time he came over. After dinner, Chen Lian, Suzuki Hanahi, and Sakai Noriko went home together. It was still the same courtyard as last time, except that the program in the night theater had some changes. The name is called Using the Help of My Girlfriend's Bold Sister to Sneak Up on Me Anytime and Anywhere. The next morning, Chen Lian, who had acted all night, went to the art exhibition hall. At this time, his works were displayed in the exhibition hall in the form of photos and videos. However, the art exhibition at this time is no longer popular. After Chen Lian left last month, artists and journalists from abroad have left one after another. Without a well-known artist like Chen Lian, there is really nothing worth remembering about the Tokyo Art Show. However, there are many artists from China at the art exhibition. The Venice Art Exhibition is too far away for most artists, but the Tokyo Art Exhibition is much better. Many domestic artists have won awards in Tokyo, including painting, dancing, and drama. Several art festivals in Tokyo have almost become prize-winning places for domestic artists. To be precise, it is a novice village that is heading towards the international market. There are few people like Chen Lian who made their first win in Venice. Chen Lian looked at the photos taken by Rong and felt that they were a bit off. It would have been nice if he had taken them himself. But if he had taken them himself, who would have done the bombing of Tokyo? I can only say that one loses and one gains. At this time, there were not many people in the exhibition hall. Not many people came to see the exhibition, and many of them were students. After Chen Lian walked around in a circle, he went to find Ito Murangi. At this time, Ito Murangi was having a headache. The funds for the closing ceremony had decreased, and there were fewer artists to participate. The opening ceremony was created by Chen Lian and caused a sensation in the global art world. If the closing ceremony was anticlimactic, it would be too disappointing. Strictly speaking, Ito Murangi is not an artist, but a curator. It is his responsibility to make art exhibitions beautiful. The only thing that Ito Murangi was lucky about now was that Chen Lian came to attend the closing as scheduled, otherwise the closing ceremony would have been too deserted. When he saw Chen Lian, Ito Murangi greeted him very warmly, and said to Chen Lian apologetically, "Lian-kun, I have heard about what happened to you in China, and I'm sorry for causing you so much trouble." Chen Lian waved his hand nonchalantly and said, "This has nothing to do with you. No need to apologize. How are you preparing for the closing ceremony?" Ito Murangi's face darkened, and he said with some helplessness, "Now there is not so much financial support. The impact of the financial crisis has forced investors to allocate funds. The art transactions at this year's exhibition are also particularly deserted. It is because I did not plan it well." Chen Lian patted Ito Murangi on the shoulder sympathetically and said, "It's the same in Venice. Don't blame yourself too much. However, the art trading market in Europe and the United States is very good this year. The financial crisis that started at the beginning of the year has made many people in Europe and the United States make a lot of money. Although the securities market has fluctuated, it does not stop people from making money. Several countries in Southeast Asia have been drained. Capital is the bloodiest thing." Chen Lian couldn't help but sigh. He looked at Ito Murangi and said, "Ito-san, if you need me to do anything, you can tell me at any time. Ito-san is a good person, and he really gives you gifts. You can't chill people's hearts." "Really? Lian-kun, could you please invite some artists and art critics here?" Ito Murangi looked at Chen Lian expectantly. Chen Lian nodded immediately and said, "Of course, but do you still have money to pay for the trip?" "Yes," Ito Murangi gritted his teeth and said. As a curator, this is related to his reputation and future reputation. Even if he doesn't have the money to squeeze in from other places, he still has to do it in a lively way. Chen Lian looked at Ito Murangi's risk-taking appearance and was no longer infected. He immediately said, "I'll call and invite you now." In the next 2 days, Chen Lian called all the artists and critics he knew. At first, Chen Lian thought that he wouldn't be able to invite many people over temporarily. Unexpectedly, those friends immediately agreed after receiving Chen Lian's call. Chen Lian was quite embarrassed, but when the list was handed over to Ito Muragi, Chen Lian could clearly see his changing expression. Ito Muragi is in pain and happiness now. On the one hand, he is happy that so many people can participate, but on the other hand, he is also very worried about the tight funding. Seeing Ito Muragi being so entangled, Chen Lian couldn't help but sigh and said, "Ito-san, I can sponsor some funds." Really, Ito Muragi looked at Chen Lian happily, bowed and said, "Thank you so much, Mr. Lian, for your generous donation." Chen Lian waved his hand and said, "Ito-san, we are friends. You gave me a very good gift. This is my return gift." Ito Muragi was very happy for his decision at that time, and he couldn't help feeling that Chen Lian was a good person. Chen Lian didn't plan to sponsor much money. He got a lot of compensation for participating in the Tokyo Art Festival. This time, he considered it as a rebate, and there might be unexpected gains. Why did people help him bomb Tokyo and help him block some pressure from Japan? Otherwise, after Chen Lian's bombing, extremists would definitely besiege him. Chen Lian sponsored Ito Muragi for us $200,000 and paid back half of his remuneration. Although it was not much, the money was enough to fill the gap of Ito Muragi. Of course, Chen Lian naturally had his own purpose in doing this. He looked at Ito-san and lied without changing his expression, "My previous artistic creation may have caused many people to misunderstand me, so I hope Ito-san can let everyone know about my donation. Even if it is my apology." Ito Muragi didn't think much and agreed immediately. "This thing doesn't cost anything, just say hello." The next day, Tokyo newspapers reported Chen Lian's donation to the Tokyo Art Festival. Chen Lian's donation was viewed by many as an act of goodwill. People who originally hated him subconsciously thought that Chen Lian was expressing his apology. Overnight, Chen Lian's reputation in Japan has improved a lot. Most people didn't care much about Chen Lian's previous behavior, and they just felt a little disgusted. Now, doing this has increased their goodwill. Of course, Chen Lian's donation was simply to help his friends, not to express his apology. He had a shitty apology. He has his own little calculation. Tokyo is a very good market and a good springboard. He will continue to make money in Tokyo in the future. It may seem that you will earn less than 200,000 yuan from your donation now, but you will earn it back thousands of times from them in the future. On the closing day of the art festival, Chen Lian met the representatives of the consortium behind Itamura again. In a friendly atmosphere, Chen Lian looked at them and said, "Everyone, I like Tokyo very much. I want to open an art space in Tokyo. I hope to get your support." Ito Muragi asked from the side, "Is it the same as Zhangjiang's?" Chen Lian nodded with a smile and explained in detail. "Yes, but there are still some differences. I will create the fourth work in the Wave series here. At the same time, I also want to bring Chinese modern art to Japan. I hope more people can see modern art from China." Art. Another sentence. Chen Lian did not tell them that this time the art space will be another attempt by Chen Lian, with more commercial attributes, and he will start to try to design high-end luxury customization, and may even co-brand with luxury goods in the future. The reason why I chose to try it in Tokyo is because Japanese culture comes from China and belongs to the relationship between father and son. It will be easier to promote luxury goods from traditional Chinese culture here. It's okay to sell a Suzhou embroidered scarf for a few $1,000s, and it's not too much to sell a high-end customized hanfu for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? It's not too much to sell a piece of yun brocade for $18,000, right? By repackaging those handicrafts in traditional culture and working hard, it is really possible to break out of the siege with traditional culture and let the world see a different China. If this path is feasible, Chen Lian will establish his own brand in the future and promote Chinese luxury goods to the world. It is a pity that so many traditional handicrafts in China are gradually disappearing. It's time for the world to see what luxury goods from China are like. Chen Lian looks forward to one day being able to compete with Bernard, but hopes that Bernard will not regret his decision to support Chen Lian in the first place. Chen Lian is still looking forward to finally finding his own business path on the road of art. Making money is secondary. The main thing is to promote traditional culture as cultural dissemination and protection, and at the same time save a lot of money to buy other people's luxury bags. Why don't we buy our own? Chen Lian also realized one thing after what happened last time. If he wants to live well, he needs to develop a real career. Artists will indeed be respected, but this respect is limited, and they need to continue to increase their chips. Originally, Chen Lian thought about working in the entertainment industry, but after thinking about it carefully, his development in the entertainment industry was not restricted by his superiors. The review alone can make you kneel on the floor and call daddy. Moreover, the upper limit is too low, and it is very inconsistent with my identity. As for likes in VCD, it will become likes in electronics in the future, but those who will not participate themselves can just be an assistant and be a guiding light for their uncle. Cultural people should do what cultural people should do. Chen Lian hopes that he can become a master of modern art, a representative of traditional Chinese culture, and an epoch-making person in the future. Otherwise, it would be too boring to do it all over again in this life. Is it really possible to be a little star and pick up a few girls and then be so happy that you can't find him anymore? Real men's speed bumps are never beautiful women, those are just embellishments in life. Chinese Valentine's Day is not happy at all. It's only 5,000 tonight. I'll add more tomorrow. I'm going to find someone to appease my fragile heart. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 335. Chapter 324-322. Wang Zuxian's influence in Japan. Winning an award in Tokyo doesn't seem to be an exciting thing. Maybe it's because he knew he would win the award from the beginning, so Chen Lian wasn't too excited. What's more important is that all the honor and glory were gained on the day of the bombing of Tokyo. Now the trophy is more like tasteless, and a pity to throw away. Even when I received the award, I wasn't too excited. I just said a few words and then left the stage. This time the Tokyo art exhibition was relatively successful. Thanks to Chen Lian's efforts, artists from all over the world noticed this art festival. It is estimated that many artists will participate in the next session, but I don't know if Ito Muragi still has any money. The funding for art exhibitions comes first from sponsorships, and secondly from the art trade of art exhibitions. Under the influence of the financial crisis, the next edition should be even more difficult. Chen Lian can only wish Ito Muragi to make more money next year. But it is unlikely that the financial crisis will really hit Japan next year. It's a pity that the Tokyo Art Festival has to face such a big dilemma once it is so glorious. But this has nothing to do with Chen Lian. He can't worry about his own affairs, so why should he care about other people's lives? There was still work to be done to open an art space in Tokyo. Chen Lian called Cheng Shifen on the same day. However, Cheng Shifen was quite busy recently, as one of her singers was holding a concert. Chen Lian asked Jifa again, but Jifa didn't have time to come over. Cheng Shifen and Jifa both recommended Wang Zuxian to come and help Chen Lian. Although Chen Lian felt that Wang Zuxian had made great progress now, he was still worried that she would not do well, and the original plan to return to China was cancelled. One day later, Wang Zuxian came to Tokyo. She was still very familiar with Tokyo. She had come to Tokyo to participate in many activities before. Wang Zuxian is also very popular in Tokyo. She even put on a disguise when she got off the plane, but it was of no use. Because many reporters had been following Chen Lian these 2 days, they all became excited when they saw at the airport that the person Chen Lian was picking up was Wang Zuxian. Big news is coming. Wang Zuxian is recognized in Japan as the most beautiful woman in Asia. This evaluation has killed all the Showa goddesses in Japan. Wang Zuxian also has a nickname in Japan, and is hailed as the Fairy of Hong Kong by the Japanese media. When Ri Miyazawa debuted, she also caught on to the popularity of Joey Wang and was known as the Japanese Wang Joey. Even though Wang Zuxian later retired, she is still very popular in Japan. As long as there is any Asian beauty ranking, Wang Zuxian will definitely be on the list. The Tokyo Film Festival later invited Wang Zuxian to be a judge. Japanese people really like Wang Zuxian. Not to mention Japan, even next door to South Korea, Wang Zuxian is also the most popular Hong Kong actress, and once influenced South Korea's aesthetics. From the late 1980s to the early 1990s, Wang Zuxian was the most popular foreign actress in Japan and South Korea. Wang Zuxian was shocked at first when she saw so many reporters, but she slowly relaxed when she saw Chen Lian acting like he was used to it. Wang Zuxian asked quietly next to Chen Lian, "Aren't you afraid that others will know?" The problem is that no one knows yet. Chen Lian was also helpless, looked at Wang Zuxian and said softly, "Do you mind?" Wang Zuxian hesitated and shook her head and said, "I don't mind, everyone knows it anyway." I don't mind how it's possible. The word used when referring to her relationship with Chen Lian is one of lovers, not girlfriend. However, this matter has been raging for several months, and Wang Zuxian is now in trouble. What can he do? Unless he breaks up with Chen Lian, this is the only way. It's hard to break up. Chen Lian seems to have magical powers. The longer we stay together, the more inseparable we become. Moreover, Chen Lian is becoming more and more successful. Wang Zuxian is really reluctant to let go. Wang Zuxian, what are you doing in Tokyo this time? Do you have any movie plans? Miss Wang Zuxian, are the rumors between you and Chen Lian true? Reporters were asking questions all over the place. Wang Zuxian raised his head to say hello, and the reporters around him also fell silent. During this gap, an unexpected voice suddenly sounded from behind the crowd. "How can we fix it? I'm going to kill Chen Lian. You bastard." The lively crowd suddenly quieted down, and everyone turned to look in the direction of the sound. Chen Lian was much taller, and at a glance he could see the little man behind him who was scolding him. "I really thought I hadn't learned any Japanese during this period, right? I could understand the words Kakeshiu, Bage Yalu and Chen Lian as soon as I heard them. Grandma, you are envious, jealous, and hateful, right?" Chen Lian coughed loudly, attracting everyone's attention, and then raised his arm. The reporters around him were stunned for a moment at first, but then they figured out what Chen Lian meant, and they all looked at him with twisted jealousy. Wang Zuxian noticed Chen Lian's little movements and couldn't help but snickered in her heart. It was quite cute when he was angry. Wang Zuxian also looked at the scolding reporter, then turned her head and looked at Chen Lian affectionately, smiling sweetly and holding his arm. Ah! Shrimp and pig heart. A public show of affection. Suddenly there was a lot of noise and chattering around, and Chen Lian couldn't understand what they were saying, but it was definitely not a good thing. Before the fans went berserk, Chen Lian immediately pulled Wang Zuxian, broke through the siege of reporters, got into the car and left in style. Let those journalists who are so jealous that they twist and crawl behind eat the exhaust fumes. Seeing the car driving away, the people behind could not help but curse. What a dog! He stole the first lady in Japan, the last pure beauty of the Showa era, and also stole Wang Zuxian. Chen Lian. I am at odds with you. I usually don't think it's anything when I watch the news, but now when I see it with my own eyes, I'm so angry that I want to kill someone. Gentlemen, let's assassinate Chen Lian together. Agree. Agree. In the excitement of the public, the assassination team of Chen Lian was officially established, and the Japanese team was formally established. Chen Lian in the car looked at the reporters yelling in the rearview mirror and couldn't help laughing. Wang Zuxian also fell into Chen Lian's arms and laughed along with her. This was the first time that she and Chen Lian were so close in front of the camera, showing such unabashed affection. Wang Zuxian recalled that she seemed to be the first person to show affection to Chen Lian in public. It still feels a little sweet in my heart. The driver in the front seat was also a fan of Wang Zuxian. At this moment, he really wanted to crash the car into the guardrail on the roadside and die together. When the car returned to the courtyard, Wang Zuxian started to visit curiously and said to Chen Lian, "Is this the house you bought?" "No, but I have made this plan recently, and we will talk about it after a while," Chen Lian explained with a smile. Wang Zuxian turned to look at Chen Lian and asked, "If you like it, buy it? Do you have no money?" "Well, I really don't have much money in hand," Chen Lian said with a smile, "but I also want to wait for the financial crisis. It would be too much of a loss to buy now." Wang Zuxian is a little expert in the real estate market. She nodded in agreement and said, "It is indeed true. Let's wait. I will also buy one by then. I can come to the hot springs in the winter. It's okay now. How about going to Higashi-Izu to soak in the hot springs tomorrow?" "Okay. Why are you in a hurry at work? There is plenty of time anyway." Chen Lian and Wang Zuxian went to the hot springs the next day to avoid the reporters who were going crazy. When Chen Lian and Wang Zuxian went to Higashi-Izu, newspapers in Tokyo were almost sold out. The four big words on the headlines of the financial edition are, "Financial Crisis." Below is a list of bankrupt securities companies. Intimate photos of Wang Zuxian and Chen Lian appeared on the headlines of the entertainment section. Young people don't care about the financial crisis. They all look at intimate photos of their goddess and other men, and read reports filled with resentment between the lines. Adults are all paying attention to the financial crisis. When they saw the news about Chen Lian and Wang Zuxian, they just frowned, and then began to worry about whether the financial crisis would affect their lives. Noriko Sakai and Hanami Suzuki both saw today's news at this time, but one was watching Chen Lian's gossip and the other was watching the financial crisis. At this time, Suzuki Hanami was particularly glad that she listened to Chen Lian and changed her investment strategy, otherwise she would have lost no idea how much money she would have lost. Now after listening to Chen Lian's words, not only did she not lose but she also made a lot. She calculated that she had made tens of millions of yen at this time. Suzuki Hanami had very complicated feelings towards Chen Lian at this time. She had made so much money just by listening to his casual words. Did he make more himself? How can one person be so powerful? How could she predict so accurately that Japan would not be able to withstand the impact of fluctuations in the financial market? She had been paying attention to financial news these days and saw that many consortiums were making preparations, and she was very confident that Japan would not be affected. Such a man is a bit scary, Suzuki Hanami muttered to herself, looking at the news in the newspaper. Chen Lian, who was praised, had already taken a hot spring bath with Wang Zuxian, and was planning what to do with the subsequent art space. Wang Zuxian seemed to be well prepared. She kept talking about her plans with Chen Lian. Chen Lian couldn't help but admire her confident and unrestrained look. After Wang Zuxian finished talking about his plan, he looked at Chen Lian and said, "I have been preparing this plan since last year. I know that sooner or later you will open an art space in Japan. Isn't it great?" "Excellent," Chen Lian smiled and pinched Wang Zuxian's face and said, "More than I thought, but there are still a few flaws." "What's wrong?" Wang Zuxian asked, a little unconvinced. Chen Lian said with a smile, you are following the Xiangjiang model, but you have to consider the impact of the financial crisis on Japan. The high-end luxury plans will be temporarily slowed down. First, we must increase our popularity and provide a buffer for Japan's economic recovery. Time, while balancing the combination of modern art and traditional culture. After they regain control of the wealth and our reputation is established, this will be a good time to harvest. For example, you have been poor for several years and suddenly become rich. Will you be vindictive? Wang Zuxian said with a hint of understanding, I understand, in the economic recession, there is no market for art and luxury goods. At this time, we are doing propaganda to expand our influence and popularity. When the economy recovers, there will be revenge sexual consumption. Chen Lian said with a smile, that's pretty much it. The main focus in the early stage is to expand our influence. We can combine it with some Japanese pop culture and literary works to instill our brand and concepts into the minds of the public. Wang Zuxian nodded thoughtfully. It seems that this is a protracted battle. It is completely different from the fast-paced momentum building in Xiangjiang. It must slowly penetrate and influence consumers. Chen Lian is actually impressed by Wang Zuxian's ability, but different situations require different analysis and cannot be copied mechanically. And after what happened yesterday, Chen Lian suddenly discovered that Wang Zuxian was the best person to do this. She is so popular in Japan. This is an advantage that even Chen Lian does not have. In the steaming hot spring, Chen Lian held Wang Zuxian and whispered some of his plans. Just like Japan's cultural invasion of China, they would also invade Japan in turn. The penetration of popular culture, traditional festivals, food, clothing, housing, and transportation and other aspects will take time. The only good thing is that they have the same culture and the relationship between father and son will reduce a lot of troubles in Chen Lian's plan. Japan can hold various cultural festivals in the country, why can't China hold similar activities in Japan? When he was getting ready to rest at night, Wang Zuxian was still thinking about the plans Chen Lian told him, and suddenly felt that his future tasks were very heavy. This is not a business at all, but a protracted cultural war. From film and television to animation, from the screen to reality, from the elite to the civilian class, there are too many aspects involved. Just like European and American luxury brands, they spend a lot of money on marketing every year, hold various activities, invite various celebrities, and appear in various film and television works and traditional festivals. Without protracted marketing, how could those brands be sold at such high prices and become world-famous brands? To put it bluntly, some of the items from those brands don't look good at all, but there will still be people who support them. This is the benefit of long-lasting brand marketing. At that point, what you buy is no longer the item, but the brand, that small and inconspicuous logo. Wang Zuxian is not sure whether she can do this well, but she really hopes that she can succeed. This is much more meaningful than being an actor or a star. In the dimly lit bedroom, Chen Lian reached out and hugged the dazed Wang Zuxian and said, "It's getting late, let's go to bed early." Wang Zuxian came back to her senses, glanced at Chen Lian's groping hands, and felt no fluctuation in her heart. She pulled him and asked, "Can you tell me in detail how you plan to promote traditional crafts? It's the traditional clothing you mentioned before. How did it become as popular as kimono?" Chen Lian paused his hands and looked at Wang Zuxian helplessly. What time was it? Shouldn't he do something happy in this situation? My hands have touched everything, why are you still in the mood to ask me for business advice? Seeing Chen Lian stunned, Wang Zuxian grabbed his hand a few times and said, "Touch yours, tell me what to do." Chen Lian, he even touched his butt? No wonder men don't like women who are too ambitious. Where has my gentle and considerate Wang Xianxian gone? Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 336. Chapter 325-323. Call me Queen. The desolation of late autumn seems to affect not only nature, but also people's lives. At this time, the Japanese financial market had begun to fluctuate violently, which indirectly affected many aspects, especially in real estate and daily consumption. At this time in previous years, Higashi-Izu would already have many tourists visiting hot springs, but this year it was particularly deserted. Even if the financial crisis has just caused a breeze in Japan, it has already made many people anxious and worried about their future life. The economic collapse of Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand makes it impossible to ignore this financial crisis. Even if Japan is a developed country that is stronger and more capable of resisting crises than those countries, no one can guarantee that Japan will definitely survive this financial crisis. Whether traveling or soaking in hot springs, these are not issues that everyone will consider at this time. Keeping more money in hand is the most important thing. Wang Zuxian and Chen Lian were walking on the streets of Higashi-Izu. Looking at the slightly deserted streets, they seemed to feel that the wave of the times was about to hit. Wang Zuxian held Chen Lian's hand and said, "You were right what you said yesterday. My plan is indeed not suitable for the current situation. But it's good. You've grown up very fast. The development of Zhangjiang's art space has exceeded my expectations," Chen Lian said to Wang Zuxian with a smile. Wang Zuxian said with a smile, "You have already made plans. I just need to follow the steps and I will be able to do it. I hope I can do well in Japan this time. I will really have to support myself from now on. Don't worry, I will make sure you are fat and white." Chen Lian and Wang Zuxian returned to Tokyo after playing in Higashi-Izu for 2 more days. What they have to do in the future is a protracted war, so they naturally need to make preparations and plans in advance. After returning to Tokyo, Chen Lian accompanied Wang Zuxian to start the inspection. He was there to check for deficiencies, and it was mainly Wang Zuxian who did the work. Japan's popular comics are now very influential and can be an entry point. However, we still need to find a suitable point to subtly promote Chinese culture in comics. There are many things about Chinese food in movies and TV dramas, but they have all been localized. There is basically zero cultural promotion. Everything is Japanese. If you want to change it, you can either change it through foreign films, or you can only try investment influences creation. There are many traditional festivals similar to those in China, but later they were localized and reformed. If you want guidance in this regard, you can try it. After all, many customs are the same. However, there are many similarities between the two countries in terms of art, but they are too far apart in terms of popular culture, and art is not popular among the people. If you want to change, it will not happen overnight. In terms of handicrafts, there are many Chinese products, but their influence is not enough and the consumer market is small. There are many stories about China in novels, but the angles and methods all have a sense of overlooking from above. The Christ in Nanjing you played before was like this. Other than that, it's about some of the residual effects of World War II. Wang Zuxian sat in front of Chen Lian and talked about what he had observed in the past few days, covering many aspects. Although the analysis was not thorough enough, it could be seen that Wang Zuxian had begun to figure out some clues. After listening, Chen Lian looked at Wang Zuxian and said, "What you said is all right, but I suggest you understand how Japan promotes its own culture. It has very good reference significance. Also, your own power is limited. Hire a professional team to help you analyze and act as your think tank. This will save you a lot of energy." Wang Zuxian nodded and said, "I know, but considering there are so many things to do, the initial investment will be very large. So we must seize the opportunity of this financial crisis and see if we can take the opportunity to acquire or hold part of a company that is helpful to us." Chen Lian thought for a moment and said, "I will have a batch of funds after the year, and I will support it then. Yours, Jifa and Sister Shifen will also have financial support. Wang Zuxian hummed, leaned against Chen Lian and said, "It feels so difficult. I feel a little tired before I even start. Can you stay with me here?" Chen Lian rubbed Wang Zuxian's head and said, "If you are tired, just find a professional team to do it. You can be responsible for checking. I don't have that much time this year, but I will have time to help you next year." Wang Zuxian curled up in Chen Lian's arms helplessly, smelling his scent and reluctant to leave tomorrow. In fact, Chen Lian didn't want to separate from Wang Zuxian so soon, but there were too many things in the country, and it would be impossible for him not to go back. Moreover, the plan in Tokyo also required Chen Lian to return to China to make preparations. Wang Zuxian felt Chen Lian's embrace. After being quiet for a while, she began to act dishonest. Her little hands moved restlessly on Chen Lian's body. "You are leaving tomorrow, can you listen to me tonight?" Wang Zuxian looked up at Chen Lian and said. Chen Lian nodded and said, "Of course, as long as it's not excessive." Wang Zuxian immediately became excited and said immediately, "I promise you won't go too far. Just wait for me." After saying that, Wang Zuxian ran out and ran back after a while. She stood behind Chen Lian and said, "Don't move, don't resist, close your eyes." Although Chen Lian was curious, he still closed his eyes. However, as soon as he closed his eyes, he felt that Wang Zuxian had put a blindfold on himself, and then put on a tight shirt, straight trousers and even suspenders. All leather shoes have been changed. Even though Chen Lian couldn't see it, he could still imagine what he looked like now. He must be cold and abstinent. But Wang Zuxian didn't stop yet. She asked Chen Lian to sit on a chair and handcuffed his hands to the back of the chair. "Perfect. Today I captured a handsome abstinent guy, you can enjoy it." Wang Zuxian took out Chen Lian's prop, a slender and elastic leather riding whip with fluffy feathers on the end of the handshake. "I've wanted to do this for a long time. Today I finally have a chance, I want to play all night." Wang Zuxian stepped on Chen Lian's leg, and the whip of the riding crop lifted Chen Lian's chin. "Call me your lady queen." "Chen Lian. If I had known earlier that I would not agree to her, it would be Tiangong's fault." Snapped. "Didn't you hear me calling me queen?" Chen Lian felt a little numb in his chest. Although it wasn't painful, it was unexpectedly embarrassing. "What I like best is a cold-blooded man like you. You have the ability to keep silent." Wang Zuxian immediately changed her head and used the fluffy feathers to tease Chen Lian's chin downwards. Chen Lian pursed his lips and said nothing. He was almost angry to death. He was against Tiangang. "Do you really want to resist? Resistance is useless," Wang Zuxian said as she slid down the fluffy feathers. "Sooner or later there comes a time when you can't help but ask for me." "Humph, man. Just take your time and enjoy it tonight." Tonight is a story about the queen and the stubborn and cold little wolf dog. I don't know when Chen Lian only had a pair of exquisite leather shoes left to wear. This was the method he used to train her before, but Wang Zuxian learned it quickly and actually used it on herself. Stealing a master, right? Jockey's haizu, right? Just wait. There are more than one people who have stolen lessons from Chen Lian, and some of them have almost become masters. But Chen Lian doesn't know it yet, just like the two good sisters from Nortel. One was having a great time playing with Fan Bingbing on the set of Huanzu, and the other was itching to tease Zuyan in Hongdian. Chen Zihan and Zhang Qingqing can be said to have obtained the true inheritance of Chen Lian, and they are both people who have successfully developed down lines. There is also a half-hearted Gao Yuanyuan who is still waiting for Chen Lian to return to China. Looking at the days getting closer and closer on the calendar, Gao Yuanyuan was worried that Chen Lian was not ready to come back on her birthday. The last time he was really angry? "So you don't want to talk to me anymore?" Gao Yuanyuan suddenly felt a little nervous and regretful, and her heart slowly changed from expectation to anxiety and even wanted to admit her mistake. At the end of September, one day before National Day, Chen Lian returned to China. If there weren't too many things going on in the mainland, Chen Lian would actually like to go to Xiangjiang to see the military parade, which would be broadcast live around the world. Chen Lian felt a little regretful when he got off the plane in Beijing. The capital was particularly lively on the eve of National Day. It is as if the financial crisis sweeping across Asia does not exist. People in the mainland have no feeling at all. There are scenes of prosperity everywhere. High-rise buildings are under construction, roads are being renovated, there are more and more cars on the road, and the smiles on the faces of pedestrians are particularly happy. The domestic economy has indeed not been affected at all, and has even taken off after the financial crisis. Everything is going in the right direction. Chen Lian likes this kind of atmosphere. This is what a great country should look like. Chen Lian is somewhat looking forward to how much box office The Singer will win when it is released. Although he can't make much money investing in movies, he has put so much effort into it. In the Beijing film studio, Chen Lian met Huo Jiankai again after several months. What greeted Chen Lian was an excited Su Qing and her secretly pinching her little hands under the table. Su Qing took advantage of Huo Jiankai's talk about the publicity arrangements and whispered in Chen Lian's ear, "You haven't come to me for so long? You are such a ruthless man." Chen Lian, I am very busy. I don't have time to see Princess Su. Even if I take a duty list, Princess Su will still be at the end of the queue. Generally speaking, it's a first come, first served basis. Su Qing wasn't too angry, but couldn't hold back her gossip and asked curiously, "Are the things in the newspaper true? Do you really have so many lovers?" Ever since Chen Lian's gossip spread, Su Qing has always wanted to ask him if it was true. Although she couldn't believe it, she thought that she was a lover and felt that what the newspaper said was very possible. Chen Lian coughed, looked at Huo Jiankai who was not paying attention to him, and said, "In newspapers, those who write nonsense are all friends, and those about lovers are all rumors." Su Qing couldn't help but curl her lips and said in a low voice, "Am I also considered a friend?" "Certainly. Then it's unlucky to be your friend and sleep with you, right? Isn't it normal for friends to have in-depth exchanges about things that you and I like?" After Huo Jian rambled about a bunch of arrangements, he cleared his throat and said, "This is probably what the publicity will look like later on. The task is not heavy. We have benefited from Lian. As long as he is here, the movie will not be released yet. It became popular once it was broadcast." Everyone in the office couldn't help but turn their heads and look at Chen Lian, with strange smiles on their faces. Chen Lian had made a lot of noise in the past half year. The topical figure of the year. First they spread gossip, and then they scolded each other in newspapers. They were seen in newspapers every day. Chen Lian looked at Huo Jiankai, spread his hands helplessly and said, "Should you give me a red envelope?" Huo Jiankai laughed loudly and said, "No red envelope. Urquatu will be enough for tonight." "What an idiot is drinking with an old man like you," Chen Lian complained, and then said, "Since there is no publicity today, I will leave first. I have to go to the ministry for a meeting in the afternoon." "Ministry? Ministry of Culture?" Huo Jiankai asked curiously. "Propaganda Department." Chen Lian stood up and said, "Let's go now. See you tomorrow." After saying that, Chen Lian ran away. People in the office looked at each other in confusion. Can Chen Lian go to the propaganda department for a meeting? Those people who scolded him in the newspapers suddenly disappeared. Is it because of this? Why do you feel that the gap between you and Chen Lian is getting bigger and bigger? Comparing people to each other is really infuriating. It is true that Chen Lian went to the ministry for a meeting. He had previously said that he would go to Paris to hold an art exhibition at the end of the year. He would promote Chinese traditional art. In addition, he would also help build a national pavilion at the Venice Art Exhibition. A plan must be determined as soon as possible for these things. When Chen Lian goes to Venice in November, he will have to finalize these things and negotiate with the organizers of the Venice Art Exhibition on the opening of the museum. We strive to open the National Pavilion in 1999. After arriving at the ministry, Chen Lian originally thought it would be a grueling meeting, but after the meeting, he discovered that it was much smoother than he imagined. Lin Fangmu is very efficient. He has already asked people in Venice about the conditions needed to establish the National Pavilion. Now he directly helps Chen Lian solve most of the problems. The rest requires Chen Lian to negotiate with the organizer about the location of the National Pavilion. What kind of treatment can the organizer provide? Venue size, venue design, annual capital investment, etc. are what Chen Lian is responsible for coordinating. This matter was discussed quickly and was over in a short while, but Chen Lian knew that there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Which artists can participate in the future and what kind of artists can participate will definitely involve a lot of problems. But Chen Lian won't care about it at that time. He won't participate in the National Pavilion anyway. There are so many exhibition halls, so it would be better to do it alone. The troublesome thing about today's meeting is the issue of going to Paris. Which traditional arts can be exhibited abroad as representatives, and which artists' works can be selected? There are too many issues involved. Last year, if Chen Lian had said that he was going to hold an exhibition in Paris, a few people would probably have taken it seriously. But a few years have changed, and Chen Lian has become a well-known artist in the art world. If Chen Lian is going to hold an exhibition in Paris now, his influence will be very great. We must seize this opportunity. Lin Fangmu looked at Chen Lian and asked, "Lian, you can tell me whatever you think. After all, it's your exhibition. I don't have a clear idea at the moment, but I want to see what the lists provided by the ministry are. It would be best to see the works, so that I can understand more easily." Chen Lian himself should take this opportunity to learn more about traditional art masters. Some powerful craftsmen are not so easy to hire. The ministry wants to use Chen Lian's influence, and Chen Lian wants to use the ministry's power to provide convenience for himself. Each has his own agenda. But there was no conflict, it was considered a win-win cooperation. But when Chen Lian really understood these things in depth, he couldn't help but curse. Damn, there are too many doorways here. I regret it. Is it too late to run away? Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 337. Chapter 326-324. Be like Chen Lian. In the spacious office, there are a lot of materials piled on the bookcases, and the desk is also very messy. Lin Fangmu sorted out the documents and said to Chen Lian, who was frowning, "This matter is not that simple. If you just want to display some cultural relics or handicrafts, it is easy to coordinate, but it will be difficult to recruit these people for secondary creation. There are too many places involved, and all local governments and departments must coordinate." Lin Fangmu sighed and looked at Chen Lian and said, "And it has to be cross-departmental. These are all under the charge of the Ministry of Culture. Before you." Chen Lian raised his eyelids and looked at Lin Fangmu and said, "If it's so troublesome, forget it. I'll spend money to find a craftsman to customize it myself, but it will definitely be too late by the end of the year. I originally thought that with the help of the ministry, I could make it in 3 months done, now it looks like it will be postponed to next year, or even the year after that." Lin Fangmu put down the document in his hand, looked at Chen Lian and said, "Don't be so negative. I didn't say I wouldn't help you." "Then thank you, leader," Chen Lian smiled and said, "Crying children have milk to drink." Lin Fangmu couldn't help but glance at Chen Lian, and said helplessly, "You decide what you need first, and then I will help you coordinate. You have the catalogue. Take a look at it yourself." Chen Lian hummed and looked through the list of included traditional handicrafts. There were dozens of categories in broad categories alone, and hundreds of categories in all provinces and regions. Let's not talk about anything else, let's just talk about ceramics. Many provinces have their own different craftsmanship and have developed different things. There are simply too many to choose from. The cultural heritage of a big country is really dazzling. Chen Lian suddenly understood one thing. Is it because our heritage is too deep that we can't promote it? There are only so many publicity resources, how to allocate them? Everyone needs to be supported and protected. Once the funds are dispersed, there won't be much left. After reading for more than 10 minutes, Chen Lian closed the thick book and said, I took it back to read. There are too many. Some of them are suitable for promotion, but if you want to go global, you must introduce new ones. Well, you can take it back, Lin Fangmu said and added, it's best to gather together and organize a successful exhibition first. It will be easy to organize it next time. Let's do it well this time first and then talk about next time. Chen Lian didn't even think that far ahead, took the booklet and left. With so many types, Chen Lian didn't know how long it would take to select them, but Lin Fangmu was right, he had to focus on selecting a few representative ones, otherwise it would be difficult to promote them. At night, at Chen Lian's house, he just came back from dinner and went to the study. After a while, Su Qing came in from the outside after taking a shower and wiping her hair, looked at Chen Lian and asked, what are you looking at? A picture album. Traditional handicrafts will be held in Paris for an exhibition at the end of the year, Chen Lian said without looking up from the colorful sculptures on the brochure. Su Qing glanced at the cover of the album and lost interest. She asked curiously, are you particularly popular in Paris? How did you and Sophie Marceau meet? Popular? That's really not true. I think all French men want to kill me with one shot, Chen Lian said truthfully. Su Qing couldn't help laughing, and she leaned on Chen Lian's shoulder and said, I don't know how many people in the country also want to kill you with a gun. They just think about it, they are just envious and jealous. Do you think all the women in Paris like artists like you? I like it even if I'm not from Paris. What he said made sense, and Su Qing didn't know how to refute it. Su Qing's wet hair was still dripping with water, which wet Chen Lian's shoulders. The cold touch made Chen Lian have no intention of continuing to read. It's hard to look at a beautiful woman on the side. Energetic men are always dominated by hormones in their bodies. Chen Lian turned his head and looked at Su Qing and said, the weather is cold. It's easy to catch a cold if your hair is not dried. I don't want to dry my hair myself, Su Qing said coquettishly. Chen Lian rubbed Su Qing's wet hair and said, it's okay, I'll blow it for you. Chen Lian was very gentle at this time, and Su Qing felt quite sweet in her heart. Chen Lian, who had finished setting up the hairdryer in the living room, sat on the sofa and looked at Su Qing and said, come here and let me dry your hair. Su Qing looked at Chen Lian, who was sitting and had to lie on his lap, like a docile kitten. Chen Lian grabbed Su Qing's hair a few times and turned on the hairdryer to dry her hair. But after blowing for a few times, Chen Lian said in Su Qing's ear, I'm blowing your hair, and you're blowing it for me too. What are you doing? You haven't washed your hair, Su Qing asked blankly. Chen Lian pursed his lips and said, you can wash it for me now. Do you know how kittens are washed? Su Qing understood immediately and couldn't help but pat Chen Lian and said coquettishly, why are you so bad? After Su Qing rolled her eyes at Chen Lian, she lowered her head and stuck out her tongue like a cat. Kittens love to lick their owners, which is a sign of sovereignty. After washing, you still have to blow dry. Chen Lian also charges for blow drying Su Qing's hair. Chen Lian took the hairdryer and blew Su Qing's hair gently and carefully, but Su Qing was not very honest. She moved up and down and her hair was messed up. A little lower, yes, otherwise you won't be able to blow the roots of your hair. Be gentle, otherwise your hair will get tangled easily. Su Qing hummed a few times vaguely, disgusted that Chen Lian was so busy with blowing his hair. Be careful, one sip will make you, old Chen, the next in line. Some people are resting at night, while others are busy all night. Early the next morning, Su Qing was pulled out of bed reluctantly by Chen Lian. She had to go to work today, so why did she sleep in and be lazy? At 8 o'clock in the morning, a dazed Su Qing leaned on Chen Lian's shoulder and slept soundly in the car. Lu Tao in the front row was not surprised by this and reported his work without any disturbance. Teacher Chen, Huanzu was finalized yesterday. Party A and Party B's crew contacted the company to ask if you have time to attend the screening. The Golden Rooster Award organizing committee has also contacted you. You are the winner of this year's Golden Rooster Award. Do you want to go? The Artists Association has also called, asking you to participate in the selection of the National Art Exhibition. This year's modern art exhibition is in Shanghai, and I would like to invite you to come when it is held. Also, several salesmen sent by Leixin. Stop, let's report these things later, after I finish my morning publicity. Chen Lian rubbed his head and stopped. Lu Tao glanced at Chen Lian and shut up. He was a good boss, but he was too lazy. Chen Lian said to Lu Tao earnestly, Xiao Bai, do you know why you are not as good as De Bai? Hearing Chen Lian's words, Lu Tao glanced down subconsciously, and then thought of Dabai, with a trace of frustration in his eyes. There is no comparison at all. Sister Dabai is really talented. Chen Lian sat behind and couldn't see Lu Tao's little movements, and continued, Dabai has more subjective initiative than you. She will handle some unimportant things for me. You don't have to report everything in the future. There are some things just handle it yourself. Well. Are you talking about this? Lu Tao's face turned red and he hummed a few times like a mosquito, but he complained in his heart that Chen Lian didn't explain clearly at the beginning. It's all because of his pervert-like reputation, that's why I misunderstood him. The promotion of the movie was boring, and Chen Lian was not very enthusiastic, but Huo Jiankai was very excited and insisted on riding Chen Lian's car. Lian, how much box office do you think we can get this time? Will it exceed 10 million? It would be nice if it was released earlier. You were so popular some time ago that you didn't seize the opportunity. Are you going to this Golden Rooster Award? Maybe you can win the Best Actor award. The atmosphere in the car was awkward on one side. Huo Jiankai was so excited that Chen Lian didn't even want to talk to Huo Jiankai. It wasn't his first time as a director, so why was he still so excited? When Chen Lian and the others arrived at the entrance of Nortel, a circle of reporters had gathered outside. Everyone knew that Chen Lian was back at school to promote a new movie. This reporter is so excited. Chen Lian has been traveling around the country and abroad during this period, and he has no chance to interview him. He is holding back his energy. Especially when I saw Chen Lian, Su Qing, and He Qing walking together, the camera in my hand was almost useless. Teacher Chen. How was your relationship with Su Qing during the filming? They are friends in private. I just saw you and Su Qing coming in a car. Are you together? Chen Lian stopped and looked at the reporters and said, Director Huo also got off the car. Am I also with him? Are we just together in the same car? Are you too disrespectful to Su Qing? Are you too disrespectful? Do you respect Director Huo? Reporter, how dare you say such righteous Lingran words? Su Qing glanced at Chen Lian from the side and couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth. Her acting skills were so good. After quarreling with the reporter, Chen Lian and Huo Jiankai walked through the school gate and entered. There were only a few reporters who could follow them in, and the surroundings quickly became quiet. After passing through the school gate, He Qing breathed a sigh of relief. Those reporters just now were too scary. Chen Lian looked at her sheepishly and said, I'm sorry, I might have hurt you. It's okay. He Ching squeezed out a smile and said, reporters just like to ask random questions. I didn't prepare for how many more newspapers I could benefit from you this time. Sister Ching, you still need to take advantage of me. Don't be joking. I'll take advantage of you. Before Chen Lian could finish speaking, he was immediately surrounded again. Senior. Welcome seniors back to school to promote the new movie. Senior is so handsome. Looking at the enthusiastic junior students, Chen Lian vaguely remembered that he was already a senior. Lian, you are so popular in school. Huo Jian's eyes narrowed when he laughed, as if he was seeing talking movie tickets. Huo Jiankai bumped Chen Lian's arm and said, Lian, say hello to the juniors and juniors. Chen Lian rolled his eyes at him and said loudly, hello everyone, thank you for the welcome. Our old senior said that he is not handsome, so don't praise him. Otherwise, when I go home at night, I will have to kneel on the washboard to explain to my sister-in-law. Ha ha ha. Kneel on the washboard. Ha ha. Huo Jiankai was quite happy at first, but his face turned dark when he heard the last part. Why is the old senior no longer handsome? Who goes home and kneels on the washboard? Are you a kid in our family? It's just that I can't bear to go to bed all night long. After chatting with the junior students on campus for a while, Chen Lian left. There were really no familiar faces. The ones he knew had either graduated or were not in school. Apart from being familiar with Huang Xiaoming, Chen Lian didn't know much about these freshmen and sophomores. Now that Chen Lian is back at school, he really feels like things are different. In the past, when he came to school, he would always meet Su Jinglei coming to chat with him, and he would also meet Fu Dalong and the others playing ball on the playground. Back in the classroom, Zhang Qingqing and Chen Zihan were still jealous. Now, there are only a group of schoolgirls who call their seniors so handsome. Not many of the freshmen in grade 97 looked familiar to Chen Lian. The only one who looked somewhat impressive was Huang Haipai, and that was because this guy looked more distinctive. This time Chen Lian came to the school to promote, the treatment he received was completely different from before. Although he was still a student who had not graduated, the school leaders came out. There is no other way. Chen Lian sent in too many experts and professors some time ago. Who can treat him as a student? Besides, he is so rich and famous, and his status is no worse than them. Chen Lian is used to this feeling now, but Huo Jiankai is not used to it. In the past, he didn't get this kind of treatment when he returned to school. This time, I really took advantage of Chen Lian, and enjoyed the treatment of a leader coming to inspect. In the school's large conference room, Chen Lian had a long conversation with the school's leading teachers. Huang Lei, who was sitting not far away, looked at the scene with a little envy. I originally thought that I was the proud son of heaven, but now it seems that I am far behind. I really miss the time when Chen Lian did not go back to school. While he was away, he was the most famous and popular person in the school, and the students all regarded him as their idol. Now that Chen Lian is back, he was almost pushed down by students when he was downstairs. It's really hard. It's really hard to be in the same school as Chen Lian. Now if I mention Nortel, the first person who comes to mind must be Chen Lian. Others are completely outshined. Others in the school either acted in a drama that became popular, or played a certain role that became popular. Chen Lian is better off, he can blossom more in various fields. Engaging in art, acting in movies, doing charity, doing business, and even having scandals with so many female stars. Who can be more popular than him? The school's auditorium was already filled with students, and almost everyone who was in school came over. No seat? Then stand. Anyway, we must join in the excitement. It's understandable that the acting department would join in the fun, but the directing department and the literature department also joined in. After Huang Xiaoming protected his goddess and grabbed a seat, he wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, These directors and literature students are so excited. Didn't the senior just invest in a movie for Jia and the others? Like crazy. Yanzi turned to look at Huang Xiaoming and said, the film studios don't even have money to make movies, but the little cracks on Chen Lian's fingers are enough for them to make a movie. Do you think they can't be excited? Huang Xiaoming chuckled and said, you know better. Yanzi couldn't help but turn her head away from Huang Xiaoming's silly smile. Why was he pretending to be stupid here when he knew everything? After a while, Chen Lian and the others appeared on the stage of the auditorium. The students in the auditorium all shouted excitedly. Huang Xiaoming also looked at Chen Lian with envy, hoping that one day he could be like Chen Lian. You should be like Chen Lian. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 338. Chapter 327-325. Men still have to do their careers. As the movie played in the quiet auditorium, the atmosphere gradually became depressing. Originally, everyone came to watch the movie in a lively manner, but they did not expect that the atmosphere of the movie would be so low, and they were all immediately infected by the atmosphere of the movie. Not all the students in the film school were admitted in their teens. Many were admitted in their 20s. They have all struggled in society. Watching the scenes in the movie will always arouse their emotions. Remember, even students aged 18 or 19 will be affected by Chen Lian's performance and feel the loneliness and struggle through the screen. Chen Lian on the screen does nothing but stands there, unconsciously immersing people into the loneliness he creates. What a great performance! Huang Xiaoming couldn't help but sigh. Yanzi turned to look at him and whispered, be quiet. Huang Xiaoming, the goddess is not cute at all. You should be like Chen Lian. Why can't I be like Chen Lian, who can make women fall in love casually? Huang Xiaoming thought of Chen Lian's gossip stories and knew that he had hooked up with Chen Mei and Gong Li before he became famous. He was really curious about how he did it. Is the gap between people really that big? Chen Kun, who was sitting on the other side, couldn't help but glance at Huang Xiaoming sympathetically. If you don't do good things, why are you licking a dog? Chen Lian, who was sitting at the front, was chatting with Li Qiji. Li Qiji couldn't help but sigh, you are really talented. You have only taken a few classes and you can act so well. God feeds you, Chen Lian replied with a smile. Li Qiji shook his head and said, whether it's chasing after the food or all kinds of feasts, I've never seen such an all-rounder like you. Chen Lian smiled and did not answer. He looked around the audience and couldn't help but feel pessimistic. It's probably a bit difficult for this movie to make money. It's hard for this style to have a high box office. Even if I and Su King Heking were to join the movie, it would probably be a hit. It seems that I need to find a way to get some money from other places. If I can't take it to a film festival, I will see if I can sell the copyright. It's easy for foreigners to make money, the exchange rate is so high, and you can get your money back by selling whatever you want. You can try to release it in Japan and Hong Kong, and you may get different results. Chen Lian thought for a while, turned to look at Huo Jiankai, who was still watching the movie seriously, and said, Old Huo, this style of film may not have a high box office in China. Let's try to distribute it overseas. Huo Jiankai turned his head and asked a little uncertainly, will the box office be low? You can't even be so popular. Chen Lian shook his head and said, it's useless. Don't have too much hope for the box office, but the hope of winning an award is not small. Apply to a few more film festivals. If you win an award, you can sell the overseas rights. After hearing this, Huo Jiankai couldn't help but sigh, and finally nodded and said, okay, I'll think about which film festival to apply for. Chen Lian patted Huo Jiankai's shoulder and said, Don't worry, it's okay even if you lose money. I will still invest in the next movie. After all, this time it was Chen Lian who asked for the script to be changed. Although the original script was also sold out, it might turn out well. Who knows? The script was changed according to Chen Lian's opinion, and Chen Lian cannot but be responsible. Otherwise, we won't be able to find such a good tool director and screenwriter next time. Huo Jiankai and Su Xiaoxiao are really suitable for Chen Lian. The suggestions are genuine changes. Chen Lian values such a partner and will definitely ask for money in the future. The movie ended quickly, and the whole movie was very depressing, but at the end of the movie, when the gray screen finally lit up, the auditorium still burst into applause. Fortunately, the final ending is not a tragedy, otherwise this movie would be really depressing to death, but if it really had a tragic ending, maybe the height of the movie would be raised a level. However, neither Chen Lian nor Huo Jiankai wanted to end in tragedy, and they still wanted to be sunny. The applause in the auditorium lasted for a long time. When the applause disappeared, the discussion gradually became louder. The following sessions are just regular interactions, some are boring, some have nothing to do with the movie, and there will always be people who want to ask Chen Lian some gossip questions from time to time. There are so many questions from the junior students, including all sorts of strange things. When Chen Lian took a photo with them, many people came to ask for autographs. After half an hour of waiting, Chen Lian breathed a sigh of relief. However, the dense notes and love letters in my pocket were a bit overwhelming. Photos can be found in almost all love letters with envelopes. The schoolgirls are so considerate. Chen Lian gave all these love letters to Lu Tao, planning to go home at night and read them one by one. Mainly because I was curious about those photos and wanted to see if the girls were in good shape. If they couldn't keep up with their nutrition, I, as a senior, should donate some money to the cafeteria. They were at Nortel in the morning, and in the afternoon they went to China National Theatre, a sister school. Chen Lian's popularity at China Theatre is no worse than that at Nortel, and the students at China Theatre are even more enthusiastic. Students from Nortel have had the opportunity to meet Chen Lian a few times in school, and many students from China National Theatre have met Chen Lian in person for the first time. The boys all admire Chen Lian and want to see what kind of person he is who can find so many lovers. Girls are relatively simple, they just want to see handsome guys and idols. When Chen Lian came to the Central Theatre, he suddenly thought of Zhang Wen. This guy cheated him in the documentary, and he still feels angry. But there were too many people around, and Chen Lian didn't notice Zhou Yun in the crowd. In the end, I had no choice but to give up. Everyone in the grade 96 acting class of China National Theatre had met Chen Lian, and it was Chen Lian who helped mediate the conflict with Nortel. Zheng Li looked at Chen Lian from a distance and wanted to go over and say hello to him. Last time, he asked Huang Xiaoming to give Chen Lian his contact information and wanted to treat him to a meal to thank him, but he never heard from Chen Lian. It's been so long, Zheng Li still remembers it in his heart. Zheng Daimei, what are you thinking about? Qin Heilu hugged Zheng Li and said, you must have fallen in love with Chen Lian, right? He is not a good person, he is a playboy. Zheng Li frowned slightly when he heard this, but couldn't say anything to refute. Chen Lian was indeed a playboy. Zhang Ziyi, the youngest student in grade 96, said unconvincedly, he is a playboy and so many people like him. He must have some unforgettable advantages. Otherwise, why would those big stars be willing to follow him? It doesn't matter whether you spend a lot of money or not, I just want to experience the treatment of a big star. Isn't there a popular saying nowadays, Chen Lian only likes big stars, quality inspectors in the entertainment industry? Without Chen Lian's certification, who dares to say that he is popular? Listening to Zhang Ziyi's words, Qin Heilu couldn't help but flick Zhang Ziyi's head and said, little girl, aren't you also having a romantic interest? Sister Heilu, you bullied me again. Zhang Ziyi angrily chased Qin Heilu and wanted to fight back. However, the disparity in strength was too great, and he ended up being suppressed. Zheng Li didn't bother to join in. She just watched Chen Lian's back disappear into the campus, then turned around and prepared to go to the auditorium to grab a seat. But as soon as I turned around, I saw Zhang Tong looking at Chen Lian's back in a daze. Zheng Li glanced at Zhang Tong thoughtfully. He was indeed a good classmate. Everyone's aesthetics were surprisingly consistent. Zheng Li likes Chen Lian's maturity in calming down a group of boys with just a few words one night, and also likes his talent. Of course, appearance is also an important part. Zhang Tong is relatively simple, he just thinks Chen Lian is handsome, famous and rich. As for those who care or not, who cares? Gong Li and Sophie Marceau don't care. What's the point of being so transparent? It's not their turn anyway. Chen Lian has been to China Theater several times, but each time he came to promote movies, and he still likes the environment here. In the afternoon, while the movie was showing, I snuck out and wandered around. At this time, there was no one on campus, so Chen Lian didn't worry about being disturbed, so he just wandered around. However, there was a little tail following behind him. After following him for a few minutes, he finally couldn't help it and took the initiative to speed up his pace, trying to pretend to encounter him by chance. When turning a corner in the small garden, Chen Lian looked up and saw a familiar figure in front of him. Just as he was wondering who this was, the other person said hello first. "Senior," Zheng Li walked over with surprise on her face and said, "I didn't expect to meet you here. Aren't you here to promote the movie? I was about to go see it. I was delayed in the dormitory just now. I don't know if I can't catch up." Chen Lian looked at Zheng Li's face and thought for a moment before remembering who she was, but he didn't expect that she was quite outgoing and talkative. "Hello, we meet again," Chen Lian said with a smile. "Your name is Zheng Damei. I remember your classmates called you that." Hearing the word Zheng Damei, Zheng Li blushed immediately. She didn't think it was a big deal when a classmate called her with this nickname. When Chen Lian said this, she felt a little ashamed. Zheng Li suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Her previous grace were gone, and she said a little shyly, "My name is Zheng Li because of the nickname given by my classmates. It's a good name. It sounds nice and suits you very well." After Chen Lian praised it, he looked at Zheng Li and said, "The movie has just started. You can hurry up and get there now." "Ah," Zheng Li was stunned for a moment, a little unresponsive. She looked at Chen Lian pointing in the direction of the auditorium, and felt a little annoyed. The reason for striking up a conversation was what she just said. Now she could only nod and said, "Then I'll go watch a movie." "Well, thank you for your support, junior schoolmate," Chen Lian said with a smile, then stepped aside to let Zheng Li pass. Zheng Li took a few steps forward and suddenly looked back at Chen Lian's back. She wanted to ask Huang Xiaoming if Huang Xiaoming gave him her phone number last time. But Chen Lian turned around and disappeared into the small park. After Zheng Li returned to the auditorium a little disappointed, Zhang Tong, who helped her occupy a seat, asked curiously, "What did you do just now? What took you so long?" "Nothing, I'm going to the bathroom," Zheng Li explained casually and started watching the movie seriously. In the dim auditorium, Zhang Tong couldn't help curling her lips. She followed Chen Lian out as if she didn't see him, but it looked like he had hit a wall. Zhang Tong didn't know why, but he was still a little happy, but he was happy for less than a second, and then he immediately recited a sentence of guilt in his heart. They are all good sisters, how could they secretly laugh at Zheng Damei? Zhang Tong was thinking this in his heart, but he couldn't suppress the smile on his lips, which was out of tune with the people watching the movie around him. Time passed little by little, and when the movie was about to end, Chen Lian came back. The next process was the same as Nortel's, including interactive questions, taking photos, and signing autographs. When he left, Chen Lian took away a lot of love letters. He received more love letters today than in all his previous lives combined. Go back tonight and stay up late reading. In the evening, Chen Lian was reading quietly in the study. There was a pile of love letters placed in the corner of the desk, but none of them were opened. Chen Lian hasn't read the list of traditional handicrafts yet. This is the important thing. He can't read love letters or anything else. After watching it for a few hours, Chen Lian probably knew that the art exhibition at the end of the year would display 10 different traditional arts. Ceramic tie-dye su embroidery, paper cut lacquer carving, reed painting, hanfu and so on. These either have a strong sense of experience, or have a relatively large space for innovation, and are also representative traditional handicrafts. Chen Lian also struggled for a long time before choosing these. After he finalized the list, he immediately picked up the phone and called Lin Fangmu. Leader. I've made my choice and I'll report it to you, tell. But before he could finish his words, Lin Fangmu interrupted him and shouted in a broken voice, Stop, stop, stop. Chen Lian, do you know what time it is? I'm almost 40, why are you calling me in the middle of the night, telephone? Chen Lian smiled awkwardly and said, Didn't you ask me to tell you as soon as possible after I have made my choice? And you are only in your 30s and you are still young. Why do you sleep so much? Sacrifice it for your career. Lin Fangmu, I really want to beat this guy to death. After more than half an hour, Chen Lian hung up the phone after talking a lot and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This matter has finally started to take off. When these craft masters are transferred to the capital by the ministry to cooperate with them, they can officially start their own brand. Men, you still have to do some career. Do your business. Do your business. The dog man just turns his back on others. Su Qing, who went home alone tonight, was getting more and more angry as she lay in bed thinking about it. Wasn't it just that when she was blow-drying her hair yesterday, she accidentally used a little too much force, so she held a grudge? Why didn't he feel distressed when he was choked with tears? Why doesn't he feel bad when his butt is spanked red? Dog man. Dog man. Dog man, Su Qing rolled over and over on the bed, furious. I'm a puppy if I have to deal with him tomorrow. Early the next morning, Su Qing forgot the oath she swore last night as soon as she got up. She held the phone and acted coquettishly with Chen Lian, asking him to pick her up. What's wrong with the puppy? How cute the puppy is. The puppy loves its owner the most. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 339. Chapter 328-326. How can you take advantage of the country? October in the Golden Autumn is a season of harvest, but for Chen Lian and the others, it is a month of sacrifice. You have to wait until November to reap the rewards, and in the second half of the film's promotion, there's almost not much to do. The limitations of the times made the publicity methods of this era extremely simple. Chen Lian also thought about using some publicity methods of later generations, but after thinking about it, he felt that it was not necessary. If you really want to increase the box office, you might as well crack down on piracy. However, cracking down on piracy will indirectly hit the development of the VCD industry, which is really a contradiction. Chen Lian simply didn't care about these things. He was just an actor and didn't care about the directors and producers. If you have this time, you might as well be busy with your own business. In Shanghai, Chen Lian, who had just finished promoting the drama, was about to go to the set of Red Lover to see Leslie Cheung when he was pestered by Su Qing. Su Qing, who had just gotten into the car, looked at Chen Lian and asked unhappily, "What's going on with you these days? Feeling left out?" Chen Lian could see Su Qing's mood and found it quite interesting. Would Princess Su be so proactive? Chen Lian couldn't help but want to laugh. Why are you laughing? Su Qing pinched Chen Lian angrily and said, why are you ignoring me recently? I'm not ignoring you, aren't we promoting together every day? Chen Lian asked with a smile. Su Qing snorted softly, leaned close to Chen Lian and whispered, you know what I mean, we are together during the day and at night. Chen Lian hummed, patted Su Qing's back gently, and said helplessly, I've been reading some information recently, and I can't stand being with you anymore. I can't help it. Hearing Chen Lian's words, Su Qing's mind turned around and she figured it out. She couldn't help but smile, and she lay directly on Chen Lian's body and said in a seductive voice, are you trying to say that you can't resist my charm? Alone. When you are with me, you just want to hum me. Chen Lian curled his lips and said, don't you want to have sex with me? I'm afraid you'll delay my reading. Su Qing was so angry that she bit Chen Lian's collarbone, mumbling nonsense words, such as saying you want to have sex with me. Girls are not reserved at all. When Chen Lian went to the set of Red Lover and opened the car door and got out of the car, his collarbone was still aching under his shirt. As for Su Qing, she is lying in the car holding her butt and moaning. Li Wan in front glanced at Su Qing through the rearview mirror and looked back. The boss is becoming more and more arrogant. Do you want to add a baffle to the car in the future? Otherwise, how can you drive with peace of mind? When the crew of Red Lover saw Chen Lian, no one stopped them. They even came over to say hello and told Chen Lian that Zhang Guorong was putting on makeup inside. Chen Lian thanked him and walked to the makeup area. As soon as he got close, he heard the sound of jingling coming from inside. Zhang Guorong wore pure iron shackles on his feet and walked out barefoot. The moment he saw Chen Lian, he subconsciously closed his feet. But Chen Lian had already seen it. He took a deep look at Zhang Guorong, then knelt down and glanced at the shackles on his ankles. He couldn't help but clicked his tongue and said, you worked really hard, your feet are worn out. This can help me better assume the role. You know, I have never played this kind of role, nor do I have this kind of experience, Zhang Guorong explained with some guilt. Chen Lian stood up and patted his shoulder and said, it's okay, I understand. It's not my foot that hurts anyway. Ha, right? I knew you would understand me, and they even advised me to take off the shackles. Zhang Guorong showed a relieved smile. He was always worried about being scolded in front of Chen Lian, even though he was so much older than him. But there is this strange mentality. Chen Lian hummed and said, if you are not good at acting, you must rely on the help of these external objects. People just experience it and grasp the feeling. If you are not good at acting, just wear it all the time. Zhang Guorong, ridiculing me. Who is saying that his acting skills are poor? Chen Lian didn't get the chance to dance, but Leslie Chung, who couldn't jump, turned around and looked around and asked, where is your director? I'm going to say hello. Over there, I'm talking about drama with Mei Ting. Zhang Guorong pointed in a direction. Then forget it, who knows what they are doing. Chen Lian would not join in the fun, looked at Leslie Chung and said, how long will you continue to shoot today? It ends around 6 o'clock, and there is no night view. It's only 3 o'clock now. I won't wait for you anymore. Call me when you go back to the hotel in the evening. Goodbye. Zhang Guorong looked at Chen Lian's leaving figure and couldn't help but want to scold me, you just came here to mock me. After Chen Lian returned to the car, he glanced at Su Qing, who was still moaning with tears in her eyes, patted her again and said, go inside, I don't know how old I am. Su Qing, dog man. Wait for me tonight? I'll kill you. Chen Lian ignored Su Qing's resentful eyes and said to Li Wan, send us back to the hotel, and then find a private doctor to send to the crew and ask him to follow Zhang Guorong during this period. Okay, Li Wan was a little curious, but she didn't ask why she wanted to send a doctor over. She would find out later when she came to see him. She was also a fan of Leslie Chung. More than 20 minutes later, Su Qing followed Chen Lian in the quiet corridor of the hotel, gnashing his teeth and baring his claws. Chen Lian looked back at her, and Su Qing immediately put on a cute and sweet smile, followed Chen Lian with small steps and said with a wink, "The shower in my room is broken. You want to take a shower at my place, right? Then get wet and seduce her, and then bring food to bed." Chen Lian lifted Su Qing's chin and said. Su Qing bit her red lips and looked at Chen Lian stubbornly, her big round eyes quickly becoming mist-filled. What a annoying little goblin. Chen Lian didn't say anything, but took Su Qing's hand and walked to his room. Su Qing, who was behind him, had a little fox-like expression on her face. Boom. The door was closed, and the sound of clothes rubbing against each other and the suppressed and rapid breathing suddenly came from the room. "Didn't you say you don't want to have sex with me?" "Did I say that?" Chen Lian held Su Qing's chin and pressed her against the wall and said, "I'll give you a chance to take the initiative." "Bad guy." Su Qing broke away from Chen Lian's hand, jumped up and hung on Chen Lian and said, "You are so bad, you know how to bully me." "I'm a bad guy, so who are you?" "A good guy with a warm heart." "Ang. I am a good person." Okay, then let me see how hot you are." Are you saying something strange?" "You'll know later." "Don't you want to kill me?" "I'll give you this chance." I don't know how much time passed. Su Qing lay on the white bed, frowning and turned over in a daze. It was uncomfortable to sleep with the flyer wet, but as soon as she turned over, she woke up in pain, and lay down reflexively. Su Qing hummed, feeling like she wouldn't be able to sit down tomorrow, and walking would be difficult. On the other side of the suite, Chen Lian was wearing loose pajamas and looking at the information in his hand. The ministry is organizing and coordinating the craft masters to go to the capital for a meeting, and Chen Lian needs to familiarize themselves with all the information and make a new design before they all arrive in the capital. The good thing about traditional handicrafts lies in the tradition, and the bad thing about them lies in the tradition. The reason why these craftsmanship slowly declines and some even disappear after a few decades is because adhering to the tradition is no longer in line with the spiritual needs of the times. Take the yun brocade as an example. It has top-notch craftsmanship and top-quality fabrics, but the 1-meter-long yun brocade has an ugly golden dragon embroidered on it. You say it's valuable, it's indeed valuable, but who will buy it? It is possible to innovate, but no one does it, or some people do it, but they are accused of ruining the things of their ancestors. There are always people who want to keep these things in their hands, and wait until no one cares about them and are about to disappear and the inheritance is cut off, then they will shout for everyone to protect traditional culture. What kind of protection do you have? It's too far away from life and the market. You can't just grit your teeth and spend tens of thousands of dollars to buy it back and then lock it in a cabinet. Who would walk around the streets wearing an ugly 5-clawed golden dragon? At present, foreign luxury goods have not yet occupied the domestic market, and there is still time and opportunity to change this outcome. Chen Lian was sitting at his desk, and the pencil in his hand kept drawing beautiful lines on the white manuscript paper. During this period, he had read a lot of books on design. Downstairs in the hotel, Zhang Guorong staggered upstairs, followed by Li Wan and a doctor. In the elevator, Zhang Guorong leaned against the wall, took a breath and said, "I'm going to trouble the doctor today." The doctor frowned and looked at him and said, "Don't move for a few days. Your ankle is seriously injured. If you continue like this, there will be big problems." "I know." Zhang Guorong forced out a smile and said, "but the crew will waste a lot of money if they don't work for a day." The doctor sighed and stopped talking. It was difficult for him to understand Zhang Guorong's behavior. Aren't acting and acting all just performances? How could he really wear shackles weighing dozens of kilograms and walk so much, even his ironclad feet couldn't bear it? After going upstairs, Zhang Guorong suddenly grabbed Li Wan and said, Don't tell Lian that I'm back, and don't tell me about my injury, otherwise he will definitely call and complain. Li Wan gave him a meaningful look. Why is the idol so naive? How could a boss with such a personality complain? He would definitely tie you up and send you to the hospital. But seeing her idol begging for help, Li Wan still agreed softly. She just looked at the doctor and said, "Please take care of yourself more recently." "Don't worry, I will do it." The doctor turned around helplessly and supported Zhang Guorong and said, "Mr. Zhang, I will help you go back and change your dressing." Trouble. Seeing Zhang Guorong's faltering steps, Li Wan hesitated for a moment. After sending him back, she ran to knock on Chen Lian's door. "My brother's injury is a bit serious. The doctor will follow him closely to prevent accidents." Li Wan still came to report, but Chen Lian's reaction surprised her. "I know, he chose it himself, don't care about him." Chen Lian looked at the puzzled Li Wan and asked, "Are you surprised by my reaction?" Li Wan nodded and waited for Chen Lian to explain her doubts. "Because he and I are the same kind of people. We can't live without being crazy. As a friend, there's not much I can do. I deprived him of the joy of acting. He's not hurt physically, but he may be hurt more mentally. When the filming is over, just ask him to go on a trip to recuperate and relax." Chen Lian also thought about changing Zhang Guorong before, but after getting to know Zhang Guorong for a long time, he realized that such a person cannot be changed. As a friend, he can only enlighten and not interfere. Everyone has their own life, and Chen Lian is not a savior. After Li Wan left, Chen Lian went back to work on his own affairs. Everyone has his own life. After 2 days of promotion in Shanghai, Chen Lian returned to the capital with the crew. During these 2 days, Chen Lian did not visit the cast again, nor did he meet Zhang Guorong in the hotel. Chen Lian just kept a doctor for Zhang Guorong and asked him to go to Paris for vacation after finishing the project to visit his exhibition at the end of the year. After returning to the capital, the movie was about to be released. Huo Jiankai was busy preparing for the premiere, so Chen Lian no longer had to run around with him. In addition to taking the time to watch Lao Jia Xiaowu's film, I went to the ministry every day to hold meetings with the craftsmen to discuss the innovation of traditional handicrafts. Perhaps because Chen Lian was too famous, or perhaps because the ministry put too much pressure on him, these craftsmen were very cooperative, and they agreed to many of Chen Lian's decisions that went against their ancestors. Who says pottery can only be made into regular bottles and jars? Why can't it change its shape? It can be adapted to too many scenes, and the patterns on the porcelain surface are not limited to landscapes, flowers and birds. Tie-dye can also be combined with multiple colors to form a portrait. Clothes, shoes, and even tie-dye paintings can also be combined with modern art. Installation art is very tolerant, so why can't tie-dye be tolerated as a craft? Reed painting can also create the effect of oil painting. Why should we limit ourselves to the original flavor of reed? Appropriate color changes can also create more possibilities. Why are the paper cuts made in red? Wouldn't it be three-dimensional when combined with multiple layers of paper cuts and lighting effects? There are so many things that can be done. Chen Lian has made many different designs during this period, almost losing all traditional things in the original craftsmanship. The craftsmanship is still the same, but the design and artistic elements are completely different. Most of today's craft masters are just craftsmen, not designers or artists, and the things they make are still the same old way. Is it okay for you to do this? Lin Fangmu occasionally came to participate in seminars, but in the end he couldn't help but find Chen Lian alone. He felt that Chen Lian's changes were too great, and he almost lost his original look. Chen Lian said nonchalantly, "This is just an attempt. When I go to the exhibition, I will still bring some traditional handicrafts to see which one is more popular." Lin Fangmu sighed and said, "It's completely different. It's no longer innovative. You completely regard these crafts as the carrier of your artistic creation, but it is indeed bold. Your renderings do look very novel. Chen Lian looked at him strangely and said, "It's just a carrier. This is my art exhibition. If I don't create, what will others see?" Lin Fang Mua, I suspect that you are deliberately seeking personal gain for yourself in the name of promoting traditional culture. Hey, leader, you've discovered this, it's too late now. How can you take advantage of the country? It's too early to tell who will take advantage of whom. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 340. Chapter 329-327. Why are Chen Lian's good lovers here? In the spacious and bright conference room, the white porcelain cups on the conference table are arranged in a neat straight line. Chen Lian often sees scenes like this on TV, and this is the first time he sits here and becomes a part of it. Looking at the neatly arranged teacups, Chen Lian felt very comfortable, which was simply good news for patients with obsessive-compulsive disorder. So much so that Chen Lian didn't want to pick it up and drink the tea, as he didn't want to destroy such a neat teacup. Bai Qing, who was sitting next to Chen Lian, didn't have much thought. He picked it up, took a sip, and put it back casually. Chen Lian looked at the teacup that was in the wrong direction and in the wrong position. He couldn't help but stretched out his hand to straighten it again. Bai Qing glanced sideways at Chen Lian, then deliberately moved the cup, and Chen Lian went to set it up again. The two of them went back and forth several times, as bored as kindergarten children. Fortunately, other people attending the meeting came in at this time, and the two of them stopped acting so boringly. Bai Qing also put away his fun, looked at the booklet in front of him, frowned and thought for a while about how to communicate with the craft masters later. Are the teachers from the Artists Association today really easy to communicate with? Bo Qing was worried that those people would be old-fashioned and conservative. She was most tired of persuading others or quarreling with others. Chen Lian nodded and said, "You're easy to talk to, but you don't even look at where we are having the meeting." Bai Qing raised his eyebrows and said, "I hope so. I know a few people who paint Chinese paintings. They are all very boring and stubborn. They are not at all freehand and don't know how to paint landscapes." Chen Lian couldn't help but smile. He looked at the design draft that Bo Qing was responsible for and said, "Your design is more traditional Chinese painting. It's quite different from mine. Yours will definitely be fine." "Well, I prefer to work on the foundation of traditional culture. I have seen a lot of modern art abroad, and I have seen all the exaggerated ones, but our traditional culture is rare. My design will definitely be more popular than yours." Bo Qing was extremely confident and said with some pride, "This time you will be robbed of the limelight by me." Chen Lian smiled and said, "That's great, I can still be lazy." "You can't be lazy," Bo Qing snorted and said, "when the exhibition is held, it's better for you to be in charge and I'll just spend the rest of the year in peace." "Okay, okay, okay, you have a peaceful time, I will bear the burden and move forward." Chen Lian looked at the people who had arrived, and added in a low voice, "Today is the last meeting, and all plans must be formally finalized. Let's have a big dinner to celebrate after finishing this work." "Oh, I see." The meeting officially started after a while, with materials placed in front of everyone. The leaders sitting at the main table were not only from the propaganda department, but also from the culture department. Several people from the Artists Association also came, in the name of guidance, but Chen Lian knew very well that the so-called guidance was just to take a position because the Ministry of Culture and the Artists Association couldn't get along. Chen Lian and Bo Qing are both engaged in modern art. They come to innovate and promote traditional culture abroad. Where do those masters who are rooted in traditional culture put their face? Moreover, Chen Lian asked the propaganda department to take the lead in doing this, so where should the leaders of the Ministry of Culture put their face? In short, All kinds of troubles are the troubles that Lin Fangmu told Chen Lian before. However, the leader who came today was Lin Fangmu, who was the first to speak with a smile. We have held many meetings in the past few days, and Comrade Chen Lian and Bai Qing's plans have also been discussed many times. Everyone has also said that the feasibility is very high. We will formally finalize the plan today and implement it as soon as possible, so as to promote our traditional culture abroad as soon as possible. As soon as Lin Fangmu finished speaking, there was a brief silence in the office. Then a master from the Artists Association said, "I saw the plan for this exhibition. Isn't it just a little too deviant to bring out the old and bring out the new? I have lost my self-flavor." Chen Lian glanced at him and felt that he looked familiar. He probably had seen him before at an Artists Association meeting. But even if they are from an association, they are not here to support the situation, but to find trouble. After all, what Chen Lian is doing now is equivalent to breaking the pot. If Chen Lian succeeds this time, the promotion, positioning and support for the development of traditional culture and traditional handicrafts will change in the future. This is not just a matter of different creative concepts, it is really a matter of blaming others. Facing doubts, Chen Lian calmly said, "There is no conflict between the two. Bai Qing's designs are still based on tradition, and he will also bring some representative traditional crafts to the exhibition. Show our traditional culture from multiple angles and all round, both old and new. Times are developing, and art schools are iteratively updated. Our traditional culture must also try to move forward. It cannot be just because it was like this in the past. Yes, you can't change it now." Chen Lian's attitude was quite good and he explained patiently, but those on the other side did not compromise so easily. Innovation will not be completely denied. Take the ceramic you designed as an example. Pottery, you are first of all a vessel or a vessel. Look at what you designed, what is its use? It's weird in shape." Chen Lian coughed and said, "Are we going to discuss the practicality of art? This question is meaningless. The artwork I want to make is not a tool. I am an artist, not a craftsman. If you just want to give some guidance here today, there is absolutely no need. The theme of this exhibition is inclusive, so don't dwell on it." Lin Fangmu looked at Chen Lian, who couldn't control his temper, and worried that he would go crazy again, so he quickly said, "I think Lian's design this time is very ingenious. It combines tradition and modernity and makes traditional culture conform to the time's development and demand. It is a good attempt." After saying a few words to support Chen Lian, Lin Fangmu looked at the professors who were in their decades and said with a smile, "Of course, the teacher's guidance is also correct, and they accept criticism humbly." After saying that, Lin Fangmu picked up the cup and drank tea with a smile. He accepted the criticism but didn't mention any changes. That's all he said, just give him a step down. Compared with those masters, Chen Lian convinced Lin Fangmu that an internationally renowned artist, an artist who has been in contact with the international art world for a long time, must have a more international vision than them. Moreover, it's not like traditional culture has never been promoted abroad and the effect is not good. Now that there is a new idea, why not try it? Lin Fangmu still hopes to succeed this time and wants to go further. The leader stepped aside and all the contradictions were instantly hidden from the table, making the subsequent steps much simpler. Under the coordination of the ministry, things that were originally very troublesome became extremely simple. It only took Chen Lian more than 2 hours to get everything done, and dozens of craftsmen also got the final plan. All that's left is execution. It takes time to create these handicrafts. There are still 2 months until the end of the year. Time was tight and the task was heavy, so the craft masters who came from various places returned to their respective places to start production that day. Chen Lian also has to go about his own business. The design and production have been completed. The next step is to coordinate with Paris to apply for the venue and time for the exhibition hall. As for those who have opinions, Who cares whether they live or die, just have fun. When Jifa received a call from Chen Lian, he felt that Chen Lian was too conservative. How could he only hold an exhibition in Paris? This should not be a global tour. Don't look at your current fame. Isn't it too stingy to only hold one event? Moreover, it is also related to the future development of the company. You must take this opportunity to promote more. Jifa, who was far away in Paris, was basking in the sun and drinking red wine, and continued to educate Chen Lian on the phone. New York, Washington, London, Venice, Tokyo, Seoul, Hong Kong, Singapore, Toronto, Sydney, these places must be visited. Chen Lian, it will be very tiring, okay. If you go on tour like this, you won't have to do anything next year. Don't worry, it only takes a week for each place. It can be done in half a year. Just work hard. Jifa took a sip of red wine and continued, Cheng Shifen will arrange it in Asia, and leave it to me in Europe and America. You just need to just be responsible for finishing the work, and hurry up, you are so lazy. Chen Lian, I don't want to talk, but I feel tired just listening. That's it, I'll hang up first and call Cheng Shifen. Jifa hung up the phone after saying that, without giving Chen Lian a chance to refuse. Chen Lian turned to look at Bai Qing and said, I don't want to go out to eat, I'm tired. Bai Qing couldn't help laughing, stretched out his hand to pinch Chen Lian's face and said, I still want to be lazy, but I have no chance. Chen Lian slapped Bai Qing's hand away angrily and squeezed it back. Be busy, just be busy, so that you don't have to seduce women again. Bai Qing said with some disgust, why can't you be idle? Have you ever counted how many there are? The emperor is not as stupid as you. I'm just lustful, not stupid. You still know you're horny. This is called liberating myself, the nature and instinct of lustful creatures. This will bring me closer to art. The preparations for the art exhibition have come to an end for the time being, but Chen Lian cannot take any time off. The movie is about to be released and the Golden Rooster Awards are about to begin. There is no way to avoid these two things. The premiere of the movie was quite simple. There was not much pomp and circumstance, and there was no big fanfare to go to the auditorium. The movie itself was not suitable. However, the Geological Auditorium is not bad, it is one of the two largest cinemas in Beijing, and many movie premieres are held here. Huo Jiankai paid great attention to this premiere, even more than his first movie. Huo Jiankai called many familiar people and sent out invitations. Almost every time he opened his mouth, no one refused to come. Even if they didn't come, it was because they really couldn't make it. This made Huo Jiankai feel even more proud and couldn't help but show off in front of his wife Su Xiaoxiao. But Su Xiaoxiao's words made him discouraged. Who do you think you are? This is just to give Lian face. Don't be too narcissistic. Huo Jiankai was so beaten by his wife that he didn't want to talk, but he also knew in his heart that he really didn't have that much face. It was only because of Chen Lian that he was willing to come. The entertainment industry is just a vanity fair. No one in this vanity fair can make more money than Chen Lian, and no one is more famous than Chen Lian. No matter which point it is directed at, knowing such a person is not a disadvantage. On the day of the premiere, Chen Lian came early, but when he arrived, he was dragged by Zhang Wen, an old boy, to get to know Zhang Yumou. Don't be too embarrassed at the time. Zhang Yumou looked at Chen Lian in silence, and Chen Lian looked at Zhang Yumou and didn't know what to say. Zhang Wen just watched the show happily, not to mention how happy he was. There were a few people far away who wanted to come over to say hello, but when they saw this scene, they immediately stopped and looked around with their ears raised. You said you wouldn't start a fight, right? No, they are all respectable people, how could they do this? Fortunately Gong Li didn't come. It would be interesting if Gong Li came too. Gong Li is coming tonight too, but you didn't know that Director Cheng and the Jing K assassin Chin crew are here and they are all at the door. Hey, that's interesting. Hey, it would be so damn interesting if Chen Mei and Ning Jing came over too. If the guarantee is not guaranteed, Beauty Chen will definitely come. Ning Jing and Director Huo cooperated last time, so she might give her face this time. Damn it, this kid Chen Lian is finally going to be defeated. I'll see how he ends up. The last sentence was said by Feng Xiaogang with his big teeth. In today's situation, he is really not a powerful figure. After all, Party A and Party B haven't been released yet. Feng Xiaogang still bears grudges because Chen Lian seduced all the goddesses he had never met. That's Sophie Marceau. How dare he? At this time, several cars were parked outside the geological auditorium, and Director Cheng came over with the Jing K assassin Chin crew. All the popular and powerful factions are Gong Li, Wang Zhiwen, Li Suejian, Zhang Fenji, and Mr. Zhou, who just makes up the numbers. Such a lineup is still rare in the film industry. Each one of them is the one who plays the leading role, and only Director Cheng has the face and strength to bring them together among domestic directors. When they got out of the car and walked up the steps, another car stopped and Beauty Chen appeared with her little sisters. Li Dabai, Chen Zihan, Zhang Qingqing, and Gao Yuan who made up the number. Tisk, there are quite a lot of people Ning Jing didn't know when she arrived. She glanced at Chen Myron and walked inward with her head raised. The reporters outside were almost going crazy at this time. What a ridiculous lineup is this? Why are Chen Lian's good lovers here? Can Chen Lian still come out of the geological auditorium alive tonight? Where these reporters did not pay attention, there was also a beautiful woman holding a little girl and holding a movie ticket through the crowd and walked into the cinema. Backstage in the auditorium, Chen Lian suddenly heard the noise coming from outside. As soon as he turned around, he saw Hu Jun running very fast towards him and shouted, "Teacher Chen! Let's go!" Chen Lian looked at Hu Jun in confusion, wondering why he was so crazy. He was the leading actor. Where was he going during today's premiere? Why leave? Could it be that he, the second male lead, is afraid that he will steal his limelight? It shouldn't be. Hu Jun is so big and thick, he still has this idea. When Hu Jun saw that Chen Lian was still sitting with Zhang Yumu and Zhang Wen, he quickly ran over and whispered, "Here comes someone. Gong Li, Chen Myron, Ning Jing, and several others have scandals with you. All the actresses are here." "Zhou. Why are they here?" "I didn't shout." Chen Lian cursed and immediately stood up and ran. Even though there were people around him, Chen Lian still ran fast. His Yalongbag was step has been mastered today. Hu Jun, Zhang Wen, and Zhang Yumo, who were still staying at the same place, looked at each other and suddenly burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha, I thought Chen Lian had 3 heads and 6 arms, but he turns out to be scared too." Hu Jun smiled and gave Zhang Yumo and Zhang Wen a strange look. "Are you two unlucky guys really smiling or fake?" "Sorry, I didn't stop playing the game. I played several games before I could code. My teammates were too annoying and I couldn't win the game." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 341. Chapter 330. Xiaoli's Gentle Trap. As soon as the lights came on in the huge auditorium, warm applause broke out. Many viewers who bought tickets were still immersed in the emotions of the movie. They were startled by the sudden applause. When they looked up, people from the entertainment industry stood up and applauded. The audience, who were unaware of the situation, also subconsciously clapped along. Sissy, who was sitting in the middle of the theater, also clapped her little hands vigorously. Although she couldn't understand what her father was playing, she felt so awesome. Lu Xiaoli also clapped, and when the theater quietened down and the crew walked onto the stage, she took Sissy away. Go home early and get ready. You have to perform well tonight, and you have to put Sissy to sleep first. In the auditorium, Chen Lian and Huo Jiankai thanked their friends one by one for coming to support them tonight. However, when Gong Li and Chen Miran came over, Chen Lian showed no excitement on his face and just said a few polite words calmly, just like ordinary friends. There are still reporters in the auditorium, and Chen Lian doesn't know what to do to them now. However, they really wanted to come over and chat with Chen Lian. Chen Zihan also wanted to ask Chen Lian if he would go to her place tonight, but seeing Chen Lian go to talk to Lin Fangmu, they didn't dare to come over. Chen Lian looked at Lin Fangmu and said, "Boss, let's go. I'll take you back to work overtime." Lin Fangmu, who are you trying to bully? I really want to beat him up. However, Lin Fangmu liked Chen Lian's attitude. It was different from the social interactions in the system, and it was also different from those deliberate compliments. It was more like a friend. After seeing Lin Fangmu off outside the auditorium, Chen Lian turned his head and glanced at Chen Miran and others who had not yet left at the entrance of the auditorium. He just nodded and got into his car and left. Seeing Chen Lian leave without looking back, the most disappointed person was Gao Yuan. Why did he leave? He didn't even have time to say a word tonight. When can he switch from an internship to a full-time job? The remaining women also left in twos and threes at this time. Zhang Qingqing, Chen Zihan, and Fan Bingbing left together. Ning Jing and Mr. Zhou quarreled with each other and ran away. Gong Li glanced at Chen Miran and said in annoyance. He sighed and went home to nurse the baby. Seeing the people leaving in twos and threes, Li Dabai was originally ready to leave, but when he saw Mei Chen alone, he felt a little pitiful for her, so he said to her, "Mr. Chen, let me take you back." Chen Miran looked at Li Dabai and said, "Okay, please, I just have something to think about." Li Dabai hummed and went to drive. He was also thinking about what happened tonight. He felt that Chen Lian's response tonight was really beautiful. He not only solved the reporter's problem, but also improved himself. The most important thing is that none of these women dared to make a scene tonight. The message Chen Lian sent tonight was to go home and tell him if something happened, don't make trouble outside. With so many reporters and leaders here, who would start a trouble without knowing the seriousness of it? Chen Lian in the car rubbed his temples, feeling a little tired. It was such a noisy night tonight. Enterprise management is too backward. Management must be strengthened in the future. If only they were like Lu Xiaoli, Chen Lian would really think that Lu Xiaoli is the most sensible. Maybe it was because she was an outsider, she didn't know Gong Li, Chen Miran, and the others, and they didn't have any idea of being jealous. Soon the car arrived at Lu Xiaoli's villa. Chen Lian opened the door and got out of the car. Seeing that the lights in the villa were still on, he opened the door and went in. As soon as the door opened, Lu Xiaoli took the initiative to help Chen Lian take off his suit jacket and hang it up for him. She also changed Chen Lian's shoes herself. "You're tired. I've prepared a midnight snack for you. Eat something, take a bath, and have a good night's rest." Hearing Lu Xiaoli's words, Chen Lian felt a little warmer. When he came to the dining table and looked at the steaming wontons, Chen Lian took a sip of the soup and said, "It tastes very good." "Then eat more." Lu Xiaoli smiled and stood behind Chen Lian and rubbed his shoulders. The gentle and virtuous behavior of a wife really made Chen Lian feel relaxed at this time. When he went to the bathroom to take a bath after eating midnight snacks, Chen Lian sat in the bathtub and leaned against Lu Xiaoli's arms, enjoying her massage of his temples. While he was enjoying himself, he was startled by Lu Xiaoli's words. "Lian, I still want a child." Lu Xiaoli hugged Chen Lian from behind, their smooth skin touching each other was extremely soft, but what she said made Chen Lian shudder. Lu Xiaoli seemed to have anticipated Chen Lian's reaction. She put her chin on his shoulder and said, I want to have a child for the two of us, and Sissy is also very lonely alone. It would be nice to have a younger brother or younger sister to grow up with her. After hearing Lu Xiaoli's words, Chen Lian was silent for a long time. Don't worry, I won't argue about anything. It will be dangerous to have children in a few years, Lu Xiaoli added, and the hand holding Chen Lian from behind moved, and her legs were crossed from behind. The soles of his feet were rubbing back and forth in the warm water. Chen Lian lowered his head and glanced at Lu Xiaoli's flexible feet, and finally just hummed. When Chen Lian woke up the next morning, he saw that there was no one on the pillow. He sat up and was in a daze for a while. He originally thought that Lu Xiaoli was the least likely to want a child. After all, she already had Sissy. She loved Sissy so much in her previous life, so how could she suddenly think of having another child? But last night, Lu Xiaoli was already made into puff-puffs, so it's useless to think about it now, it depends on God's will. While having breakfast, Chen Lian looked at the newspaper and did not find any news related to his scandal. He nodded with satisfaction. Lin Fangmu's intervention was still useful. These reporters should have been put under control long ago. After reading the newspaper, Chen Lian lowered his head and started eating breakfast. Lu Xiaoli said from the side, your phone rang many times last night, and several people called you in the morning. I wrote down all the numbers. Chen Lian glanced at Lu Xiaoli unexpectedly and said with a smile, thank you for your hard work. You didn't sleep last night. After sending Qian to school today, take a good rest at home. I will send you a driver tomorrow to pick up Qian. When Lu Xiaoli heard this, she smiled and hummed. Sure enough, the treatment was different. Although the living allowance Chen Lian gave Lu Xiaoli every month was enough for her to hire a driver, she never hired one, not even a nanny. The right solution is to wait for Chen Lian to make arrangements for himself. After breakfast, Chen Lian left to earn money for milk powder. If Lu Xiaoli had it, there would be another gold-eating beast in the future. Make money, otherwise you won't be able to feed so many mouths. As for the missed calls, Chen Lian took a look at them and ignored them. He ignored them for a few days and then talked about them. Everyone was a little distracted. It's important to get down to business first. The CCTV advertising bidding for next year has started again. This year is another year of spending money, but you shouldn't have to spend so much money this year. Last year, if Ji Changkong and Chen Lian hadn't kept raising the price, why would they have spent so much money? This year, experts calculated that Kinchi liquor industry's production capacity and sales volume were seriously inconsistent. It was completely obsolete and had no strength to participate in the bidding again. He was even blacklisted by CCTV and had no chance to participate in the bidding. Originally, Atuo was supposed to be the winner of this year's bidding, but Atuo was completely cut off from his rise due to the emergence of Leixin, and he no longer had the strength to participate in the bid for the bidding. As for other leading companies in the fast-moving consumer goods industry, they are not so courageous and are reluctant to spend so much money. Chen Lian is bound to win this year's title. The plan is to spend 200 million to win the bidding. If you can save a little bit, the price of CCTV bidding will be lower and lower in the future. The advertising price will not be raised until inflation makes money worthless in the future. Chen Lian saw Xiao Linmuo, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. He felt like he had gained weight after not seeing him for several months. Second uncle, please pay attention to your weight. I'm worried that you will be in a wheelchair next time I see you. Chen Lian was really worried when he saw his big belly. Xiao Linmuo patted his belly and said, I can't help it. There are too many social events. I've been paying attention to it. Chen Lian sighed and said, thank you for your hard work, uncle. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about this year's bidding king. After winning the bidding king last year, our performance has increased several times. So far, it has reached 2 billion. There will be a wave of sales during New Year's Day and Spring Festival. With explosive growth, it is very likely to exceed 3 billion. Xiao Linmu couldn't help but get excited when he talked about it. 3 billion. If converted into US dollars, it would be nearly 400 million. How many domestic companies can achieve this kind of sales? To put it bluntly, Leixin VCD is definitely at the forefront of domestic private companies. Although it is still far behind those large companies, such results are scary enough. You know, Leixin VCD has only been established for 2 years. Who dares to say that the company can become so big in 2 years? Chen Lian looked at the excited Xiao Linmu and smiled and said, "Second uncle, don't be excited. It's not a profit of 3 billion, so there is nothing to be excited about." Xiao Linmu, 3 billion profits? The sales volume must not be more than 15 billion. What are you thinking? This year's bid price should be lower than last year, and there will be fewer competitors. Chen Lian thought for a moment and said, "I won't participate in the bid auction this year. I've been busy recently." Xiao Linmu also knows that Chen Lian is a busy man now. He has seen Chen Lian in newspapers more times this year than he and Chen Lian have called each other. "If you don't want to go, I won't go. This year I will do it myself." Xiao Linmu is full of confidence this year and does not panic at all with money in his pocket. Chen Lian hummed before asking, "Second uncle, how is the MP3 you were asked to develop?" It hasn't started yet." Xiao Linmu rubbed his nose and looked at Chen Lian awkwardly and said, "I've been too busy this year and I haven't had time." "You're busy putting money in sacks, right?" Chen Lian couldn't help but roll his eyes at him. Leixin VCD is so popular now, and dealers really carry sacks of money to get goods. The most powerful time was when dozens of dealers carried dozens of large bags of cash to purchase goods, and the cash piled up into a mountain. Anyone who sees such a scene would be in a state of excitement. It is not surprising that Xiao Linmu would forget Chen Lian's words. "Second uncle, I have long said that VCD will not last long, so be prepared for a rainy day." Chen Lian sighed and said, "VCD does make a lot of money, but many key technology patents are not in our hands, so we are not making money for others." Xiao Linmu said with some disapproval, "Then we will also make a lot of money." "Then you don't want to earn more?" Chen Lian couldn't help but stretched out his hand and patted Xiao Linmu's bulging belly and said, "You will be full with 3 billion, but I won't be full. There are still so many children. It's being raised." Xiao Linmu glared at Chen Lian, rubbed his belly and said, "You still have the nerve to say it. What's the point of being embarrassed? I'm above board. Go away, shameless thing." He was scolded, but Xiao Linmu did feel that he was a little complacent. Maybe he had risen too fast and found it difficult to accept so much wealth all at once. At this point, Xiao Linmu still admires his nephew. He doesn't take 3 billion in his eyes and he is big-hearted enough. With examples like Chen Lian, Xiao Linmu also calmed down his arrogance. He couldn't be worse than his nephew. When Chen Lian saw Xiao Linmu calm down, he said, "Second uncle, we need to hurry up about the MP3 matter. As far as I know, Samsung has plans to develop MP3. If we don't hurry up, we will have no chance." Hearing that companies like Samsung were doing research and development, Xiao Linmu immediately became unconfident. He looked at Chen Lian and asked, "They are doing it too? Can we compare?" "So I told you last year, but who knew you weren't worried at all?" Chen Lian deliberately threatened. In fact, Samsung has just rejected the proposal to develop MP3. The financial crisis has made their head hurt. They have no time to develop new products. If they really want to start research and development, they will have to wait until next year. Chen Lian and the others still have the advantage of time, but they have no advantage in the R/U0026D team. They can only hope to succeed in developing it before them and seize the patents of key technologies. When Xiao Linmu heard this, He immediately felt annoyed that he had been obsessed with money this year. He looked at Chen Lian and said, "Don't worry, I will call back today and arrange for people to start research and development immediately. Well, let's take this opportunity to recruit more talents. Electronic products must be continuously developed, and the R/U0026D team is very important. I know this. The company's current R/U0026D team is already quite large, and we will continue to reserve more in the future." After Chen Lian and Xiao Linmu chatted for a while, they decided to go to the company to meet with the R/U0026D team during the Chinese New Year. It is not difficult for a small company like Lixin to make MP3, but the difficulty lies in how to promote it. Even the original MP3 developed by Samsung failed to be successfully promoted, but a company in the United States seized the opportunity to open up the market. After successful research and development, how to promote and protect is the key. Chen Lian has a rough idea in his mind, but it is not mature enough. He has to wait until the R/U0026D team has a design plan before it can be finalized. It's so hard to make money, second uncle, I really want to wait for death. Then please stay away. I'm going to see my granddaughter and grandson. Will you go? I won't go. It's too troublesome. I'll go back in a few days. I've never seen you act like a father before. It's almost the end of the month, please give me your monthly ticket and kneel down to all the adoptive fathers. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 342. Chapter 331-330. Xyli's gentle trap. As soon as the lights came on in the huge auditorium, warm applause broke out. Many viewers who bought tickets were still immersed in the emotions of the movie. They were startled by the sudden applause. When they looked up, people from the entertainment industry stood up and applauded. The audience, who were unaware of the situation, also subconsciously clapped along. Sissy, who was sitting in the middle of the theater, also clapped her little hands vigorously. Although she couldn't understand what her father was playing, she felt so awesome. Lu Xyli also clapped, and when the theater quietened down and the crew walked onto the stage, she took Sissy away. "Go home early and get ready. You have to perform well tonight, and you have to put Sissy to sleep first." In the auditorium, Chen Lian and Huo Jiankai thanked their friends one by one for coming to support them tonight. However, when Gong Li and Chen Miran came over, Chen Lian showed no excitement on his face and just said a few polite words calmly, just like ordinary friends. There are still reporters in the auditorium, and Chen Lian doesn't know what to do to them now. However, they really wanted to come over and chat with Chen Lian. Chen Zihan also wanted to ask Chen Lian if he would go to her place tonight, but seeing Chen Lian go to talk to Lin Fangmu, they didn't dare to come over. Chen Lian looked at Lin Fangmu and said, "Boss, let's go. I'll take you back to work overtime." Lin Fangmu, who are you trying to bully? I really want to beat him up. However, Lin Fangmu liked Chen Lian's attitude. It was different from the social interactions in the system, and it was also different from those deliberate compliments. It was more like a friend. After seeing Lin Fangmu off outside the auditorium, Chen Lian turned his head and glanced at Chen Miran and others who had not yet left at the entrance of the auditorium. He just nodded and got into his car and left. Seeing Chen Lian leave without looking back, the most disappointed person was Gao Yuan. Why did he leave? He didn't even have time to say a word tonight. When can he switch from an internship to a full-time job? The remaining women also left in twos and threes at this time. Zhang Qingqing, Chen Zihan, and Fan Bingbing left together. Ning Jing and Mr. Zhou quarreled with each other and ran away. Gong Li glanced at Chen Miran and said in annoyance. He sighed and went home to nurse the baby. Seeing the people leaving in twos and threes, Li Dabai was originally ready to leave, but when he saw Mei Chen alone, He felt a little pitiful for her, so he said to her, "Mr. Chen, let me take you back." Chen Myron looked at Li Dabai and said, "Okay, please, I just have something to think about." Li Dabai hummed and went to drive. He was also thinking about what happened tonight. He felt that Chen Lian's response tonight was really beautiful. He not only solved the reporter's problem, but also improved himself. The most important thing is that none of these women dared to make a scene tonight. The message Chen Lian sent tonight was to go home and tell him if something happened, don't make trouble outside. With so many reporters and leaders here, who would start a trouble without knowing the seriousness of it? Chen Lian in the car rubbed his temples, feeling a little tired. It was such a noisy night tonight. Enterprise management is too backward. Management must be strengthened in the future. If only they were like Lu Xiaoli, Chen Lian would really think that Lu Xiaoli is the most sensible. Maybe it was because she was an outsider, she didn't know Gong Li, Chen Myron, and the others, and they didn't have any idea of being jealous. Soon the car arrived at Lu Xiaoli's villa. Chen Lian opened the door and got out of the car. Seeing that the lights in the villa were still on, he opened the door and went in. As soon as the door opened, Lu Xiaoli took the initiative to help Chen Lian take off his suit jacket and hang it up for him. She also changed Chen Lian's shoes herself. "You're tired. I've prepared a midnight snack for you. Eat something, take a bath, and have a good night's rest." Hearing Lu Xiaoli's words, Chen Lian felt a little warmer. When he came to the dining table and looked at the steaming wontons, Chen Lian took a sip of the soup and said, "It tastes very good." "Then eat more." Lu Xiaoli smiled and stood behind Chen Lian and rubbed his shoulders. The gentle and virtuous behavior of a wife really made Chen Lian feel relaxed at this time. When he went to the bathroom to take a bath after eating midnight snacks, Chen Lian sat in the bathtub and leaned against Lu Xiaoli's arms, enjoying her massage of his temples. While he was enjoying himself, he was startled by Lu Xiaoli's words. "Lian, I still want a child." Lu Xiaoli hugged Chen Lian from behind. Their smooth skin touching each other was extremely soft, but what she said made Chen Lian shudder. Lu Xiaoli seemed to have anticipated Chen Lian's reaction. She put her chin on his shoulder and said, "I want to have a child for the two of us, and Sissy is also very lonely alone. It would be nice to have a younger brother or younger sister to grow up with her." After hearing Lu Xiaoli's words, Chen Lian was silent for a long time. "Don't worry, I won't argue about anything. It will be dangerous to have children in a few years," Lu Xiaoli added, and the hand holding Chen Lian from behind moved, and her legs were crossed from behind. The soles of his feet were rubbing back and forth in the warm water. Chen Lian lowered his head and glanced at Lu Xiaoli's flexible feet, and finally just hummed. When Chen Lian woke up the next morning, he saw that there was no one on the pillow. He sat up and was in a daze for a while. He originally thought that Lu Xiaoli was the least likely to want a child. After all, she already had Sissy. She loved Sissy so much in her previous life, so how could she suddenly think of having another child? But last night, Lu Xiaoli was already made into puff-puffs, so it's useless to think about it now, it depends on God's will. While having breakfast, Chen Lian looked at the newspaper and did not find any news related to his scandal. He nodded with satisfaction. Lin Fangmu's intervention was still useful. These reporters should have been put under control long ago. After reading the newspaper, Chen Lian lowered his head and started eating breakfast. Lu Xiaoli said from the side, "Your phone rang many times last night, and several people called you in the morning. I wrote down all the numbers." Chen Lian glanced at Lu Xiaoli unexpectedly and said with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work. You didn't sleep last night. After sending Qian to school today, take a good rest at home. I will send you a driver tomorrow to pick up Qian." When Lu Xiaoli heard this, she smiled and hummed. Sure enough, the treatment was different. Although the living allowance Chen Lian gave Lu Xiaoli every month was enough for her to hire a driver, she never hired one, not even a nanny. The right solution is to wait for Chen Lian to make arrangements for himself. After breakfast, Chen Lian left to earn money for milk powder. If Lu Xiaoli had it, there would be another gold-eating beast in the future. Make money, otherwise you won't be able to feed so many mouths. As for the missed calls, Chen Lian took a look at them and ignored them. He ignored them for a few days and then talked about them. Everyone was a little distracted. It's important to get down to business first. The CCTV advertising bidding for next year has started again. This year is another year of spending money, but you shouldn't have to spend so much money this year. Last year, if Ji Changkong and Chen Lian hadn't kept raising the price, why would they have spent so much money? This year, experts calculated that Kinchi liquor industry's production capacity and sales volume were seriously inconsistent. It was completely obsolete and had no strength to participate in the bidding again. He was even blacklisted by CCTV and had no chance to participate in the bidding. Originally, Atuo was supposed to be the winner of this year's bidding, but Atuo was completely cut off from his rise due to the emergence of Leixin, and he no longer had the strength to participate in the bid for the bidding. As for other leading companies in the fast-moving consumer goods industry, they are not so courageous and are reluctant to spend so much money. Chen Lian is bound to win this year's title. The plan is to spend 200 million to win the bidding. If you can save a little bit, the price of CCTV bidding will be lower and lower in the future. The advertising price will not be raised until inflation makes money worthless in the future. Chen Lian saw Xiao Lin Muo, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. He felt like he had gained weight after not seeing him for several months. Second uncle, please pay attention to your weight. I'm worried that you will be in a wheelchair next time I see you. Chen Lian was really worried when he saw his big belly. Xiao Linmu patted his belly and said, I can't help it. There are too many social events. I've been paying attention to it. Chen Lian sighed and said, thank you for your hard work, uncle. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about this year's bidding king. After winning the bidding king last year, our performance has increased several times. So far, it has reached 2 billion. There will be a wave of sales during New Year's Day and Spring Festival. With explosive growth, it is very likely to exceed 3 billion. Xiao Linmu couldn't help but get excited when he talked about it. 3 billion. If converted into US dollars, it would be nearly 400 million. How many domestic companies can achieve this kind of sales? To put it bluntly, Leixin VCD is definitely at the forefront of domestic private companies. Although it is still far behind those large companies, such results are scary enough. You know, Leixin VCD has only been established for 2 years. Who dares to say that the company can become so big in 2 years? Chen Lian looked at the excited Xiao Linmu and smiled and said, second uncle, don't be excited. It's not a profit of 3 billion, so there is nothing to be excited about. Xiao Linmu, 3 billion profits? The sales volume must not be more than 15 billion. What are you thinking? This year's bid price should be lower than last year, and there will be fewer competitors. Chen Lian thought for a moment and said, I won't participate in the bid auction this year. I've been busy recently. Xiao Linmu also knows that Chen Lian is a busy man now. He has seen Chen Lian in newspapers more times this year than he and Chen Lian have called each other. If you don't want to go, I won't go. This year I will do it myself. Xiao Linmu is full of confidence this year and does not panic at all with money in his pocket. Chen Lian hummed before asking, second uncle, how is the MP3 you were asked to develop? It hasn't started yet. Xiao Linmu rubbed his nose and looked at Chen Lian awkwardly and said, I've been too busy this year and I haven't had time. You're busy putting money in sacks, right? Chen Lian couldn't help but roll his eyes at him. Leixin VCD is so popular now, and dealers really carry sacks of money to get goods. The most powerful time was when dozens of dealers carried dozens of large bags of cash to purchase goods, and the cash piled up into a mountain. Anyone who sees such a scene would be in a state of excitement. It is not surprising that Jiao Linmu would forget Chen Lian's words. Second uncle, I have long said that VCD will not last long, so be prepared for a rainy day. Chen Lian sighed and said, VCD does make a lot of money, but many key technology patents are not in our hands, so we are not making money for others. Jiao Linmu said with some disapproval, then we will also make a lot of money. Then you don't want to earn more? Chen Lian couldn't help but stretched out his hand and patted Jiao Linmu's bulging belly and said, you will be full with 3 billion, but I won't be full. There are still so many children. It's being raised. Jiao Linmu glared at Chen Lian, rubbed his belly and said, you still have the nerve to say it. What's the point of being embarrassed? I'm above board. Go away, shameless thing. He was scolded, but Jiao Linmu did feel that he was a little complacent. Maybe he had risen too fast and found it difficult to accept so much wealth all at once. At this point, Jiao Linmu still admires his nephew. He doesn't take 3 billion in his eyes and he is big-hearted enough. With examples like Chen Lian, Jiao Linmu also calmed down his arrogance. He couldn't be worse than his nephew. When Chen Lian saw Jiao Linmu calm down, he said, second uncle, we need to hurry up about the MP3 matter. As far as I know, Samsung has plans to develop MP3. If we don't hurry up, we will have no chance. Hearing that companies like Samsung were doing research and development, Jiao Linmu immediately became unconfident. He looked at Chen Lian and asked, they are doing it too? Can we compare? So I told you last year, but who knew you weren't worried at all? Chen Lian deliberately threatened. In fact, Samsung has just rejected the proposal to develop MP3. The financial crisis has made their head hurt. They have no time to develop new products. If they really want to start research and development, they will have to wait until next year. Chen Lian and the others still have the advantage of time, but they have no advantage in the R/U0026D team. They can only hope to succeed in developing it before them and seize the patents of key technologies. When Jiao Linmu heard this, he immediately felt annoyed that he had been obsessed with money this year. He looked at Chen Lian and said, don't worry, I will call back today and arrange for people to start research and development immediately. Well, let's take this opportunity to recruit more talents. Electronic products must be continuously developed, and the R/U0026D team is very important. I know this. The company's current R/U0026D team is already quite large, and we will continue to reserve more in the future. After Chen Lian and Jiao Linmu chatted for a while, they decided to go to the company to meet with the R/U0026D team during the Chinese New Year. It is not difficult for a small company like Leixin to make MP3, but the difficulty lies in how to promote it. Even the original MP3 developed by Samsung failed to be successfully promoted, but a company in the United States seized the opportunity to open up the market. After successful research and development, how to promote and protect is the key. Chen Lian has a rough idea in his mind, but it is not mature enough. He has to wait until the R/U0026D team has a design plan before it can be finalized. It's so hard to make money, second uncle, I really want to wait for death. Then please stay away. I'm going to see my granddaughter and grandson. Will you go? I won't go. It's too troublesome. I'll go back in a few days. I've never seen you act like a father before. It's almost the end of the month, please give me your monthly ticket and kneel down to all the adoptive fathers.